to short. Trying to right the ship. He had been having a very good time at the plate for about a month as he takes the first pitch low and inside, ball one. His average has fallen to 288 with the 0 for 4 day yesterday. No homers, 8 RBIs, but he does have 6 doubles, 15 walks on the season. The 1-0. Scotchbull checks the swing, takes it inside, 2 balls and no strikes. And you won't find a player or a coach on this team that doesn't rave about Scotchbull's plate discipline, which has improved tremendously from his first at-bat as a collegian to now. The 2-0 is in the air to center field, and that's the long fly ball they might need. Kahn's going to come in. It's going to fall in front of him and land for a base hit. Kahn was playing so deep because of the wind that he was unable to come in fast enough to make the play, and Scotchbull will get an RBI single as Welsh will score. And the Flyers have added to their lead now. It's 2-0. And still only 1 out. Now Scotchbull at first can run, and here's Ian Hundley. And wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see Hundley try to lay one down. Steve Nicorak thinking the same thing, is in on the cutout at third base. Flannery, the first baseman, is going to hold him on. And a check over at first, and back safely is Scotchbull. Hasn't tried to run a whole lot, but has been successful when he has. He's 3 for 4. Norlander from the set. Scotchbull runs. It's swung on and missed, and the throw down to second is not going to be in time. It's going to kick away from Perez, and Scotchbull's going to advance to third base. That may have hit Mel in the head with that throw. Hundley did offer at it. It was a hit and run, and Hundley made a feeble attempt just to throw the bat out there and disrupt Remillard, and it may have worked. The throw was wide of the second base bag, and Perez couldn't handle it. So Scotchbull will get credit for a stolen base. Remillard with a throwing error will advance Scotchbull to third. Hundley in the hole, 0-1. But again, can now score a run on an out. And the 0-1 pitch in the dirt, and it's a ball and a strike. Hundley started the season as the opening day left fielder. Has since been moved to the bench with the return of Brian Blasek and the emergence of Mike Coughlin. A 145 hitter, no homers, 6 RBIs, and he taps this on the ground to second. He'll get a 7th RBI here. It's in time to get the runner at first, but Hundley claps his hands as Scotchbull scores, and the Flyers now have scored 3 times in the second inning and have a 3-0 lead. So 2 ground ball RBIs and a RBI single from Scotchbull, helped out by the throwing error. As of now, that's an unearned run. We'll see if it becomes earned with Bobby Glover at the plate. 2 down and nobody on base here in the second inning. And Norlander's first pitch to the Flyer right-handed hitter is a called strike, 0-1. Glover, 253 on the season for a batting average. Junior transfer out of Parkland Community College, Fort Wayne, Indiana native. Upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike to Glover. 1 home run, 16 RBIs. Won the center fielder's job, replacing Mitchell Nelson coming out of the fall. That's a breaking ball strike from Norlander, and he's ahead 1-2. Glover also a pretty good left-handed pitcher. Struggled his first outing, but threw 3 scoreless innings against Miami here Tuesday. The 1-2 pitch. Checked his swing and a ball in the dirt, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Flyers have scored 3 runs in this inning. On just 2 hits, they were helped out by a walk and a throwing error from Remillard. The 2-2. That's upstairs, and now the count is full with the Flyers' best hitter to this point, Brian Blasek, standing on deck. Glover, without batting gloves, stands in. Foot on the back line, and the payoff pitch from Norlander is ripped in the air to center field, but Kahn moving over will be able to make the play as the ball just hung up long enough. And that retires the side. So the 3rd run becomes unearned, but the Flyers do score 3 on 2 hits, a walk, and they don't strand anybody. Through 2 innings of play at Time Warner Cable Stadium, it is Dayton 3, Temple 0. You're listening to University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
They say America is the land of opportunity. where kids can grow up and become anything they want.
But for some of us, it's not so easy.
Today, 1 out of every 6 children in America lives in poverty.
That's almost 13 million of us.
That's almost 13 million of us.
Living below the poverty line.
The poverty line divides us all into those who have
and those who never have enough. Not enough food or medicine.
Or even a place to live. When you live in poverty, every day is hard.
But we don't want a handout. We want a way out.
A way out of poverty for me and my family.
For good.
This is America.
This is America. Together, we can do so much. Will you help?
Nearly 13 million children in America live below the poverty line. You can make a difference in more ways than you know. Go to povertyusa.org and get involved. A message from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Top of the third inning as the Flyers now a 3-0 lead, spotting Bernie Mitchum some runs. And so he'll return to the mound to face 8, 9, and 1 in the Temple batting order. Ben Flannery, Cameron Green, and Byron McCoy. And Flannery, the big, tall, right-handed hitting first baseman, steps in. 0 for 3 yesterday. And rips this in the air to right field. That's well hit. Coughlin going back. He's in front of the warning track and he'll make the catch. Well-positioned defense for the Flyers there as Coughlin didn't have to move a whole lot, and there's one gone to open up this third inning.
Second baseman, number 4, Cameron Green.
So Cameron Green will be the batter. The number 9 hitter in the order today, hit 8th yesterday. And the first pitch is lifted in the air, right field. Coughlin moving over towards the line. Long run, reaches out, makes the catch. Tracking it down in right field, almost in foul ground, was Mike Coughlin. He was positioned towards left center, but was able to track that down in 2 fly ball outs to right on 2 pitches for Mitchum. And so it's back to the top of the order with 2 down and nobody on. And Byron McCoy popped out to Brian Blasek at second to lead off the ball game. And he swings through the first pitch, inside fastball from Mitchum. It's 0-1. McCoy came in hitting at .402. Righty-righty matchup as Mitchum deals, and that's swung on and missed. McCoy chased a pitch that was maybe a bit out of the zone, up and away. And Mitchum's ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Good contingency of fans here once again. A number of Temple fans have made the trip as well, and Mitchum deals that one through the left-handed batter's box. And it's 1-2. A number of Flyers students also have crossed the river from campus here to Time Warner as that pitch is low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Flyers winning their conference opener yesterday afternoon against Temple 9-1, looking to improve to 2-0 and go to 5-0 against Temple in the last 2 seasons. And that's ripped right at the shortstop, Scotchstaple, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Mitchum, his second of the afternoon in only 3 innings of work. And we'll head to the bottom of the third inning. Dayton back to the plate with a 3-0 lead on your home for University of Dayton Baseball. This is the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Energy efficiency interviews are brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
April.
Yeah?
So you know your charger that's plugged into the wall? It's still using energy, even though it's not attached to a phone.
That's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone. You know what? I'll just unplug it. I'm busy. I'll call you back.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse? Learn more at loseyourexcuse.gov.
I'm Howie Mandel. Did you know attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in adults is a real and treatable medical disorder? I know because I am one of the estimated 10 million adults in the U.S. who have ADHD. The symptoms of ADHD, inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, make it difficult to pay attention and focus, be organized, complete tasks, and maintain relationships. Talk to your doctor. With the right treatment plan, you can stay focused and organized. Take an ADHD self-screener and learn more about adult ADHD at adultadhdisreal.com.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
3-0 lead for the Flyers as we play to the bottom of the third inning, and it'll be the top of the Flyer batting order. Blasek, Stewart, Gilman, who were all 0 for 1, having been retired in order by Brent Norlander in the first inning. Flyers put 3 on the board, though, in the second inning. So here's Blasek. Flew out to Ferguson in right field, leading off for the Flyers in that first inning. And the first pitch from Norlander drops low for ball 1. Blasek with a shoulder injury. Did not play in the first 15 games of the Flyers season, but has a hit in all 11 in which he has played since returning from the injury. The 1-0 is on the inside corner, a strike 1-1. Led the team in hitting last year, did Blasek, and was projected to be part of the all-conference team this season. The 1-1. That bounces up there. 2 balls and 1 strike. Blasek is a Dayton area native, Germantown, Ohio, graduate of Valley View High School. The junior did not see much action as a freshman, but really emerged last year as an offensive threat, batted most of the season number 2, but has been slid up to the leadoff spot here this season. That bounces up to the plate, and it's now 3 balls and a strike. Flyers really searched for a leadoff hitter last year. Jimmy Rasinger was tried there. Mitchell Nelson, Zach Blanchette, number of different Flyers. Ian Hundley even got a chance to lead off one game. The 3-1. That's a called strike, and it's full 3-2. Blasek, towards the end of the season, was seen as kind of that leadoff man. They moved him up there and had some success, so he has hit there in every game he's played so far this year. And on the inside corner, a called strike 3. Blasek can't believe it, thought it was inside. But he's rung up for the third strikeout of the day for Norlander. And it's the first out of the third inning. And here's Zach Stewart. Stewart, a .270 hitter coming in, is 0 for 1. He is one of Norlander's 3 strikeout victims. And for all the success the top of the Flyer batting order had yesterday, the first 3 hitters are now 0 for 4 today. And Stewart fouls off the first pitch he sees in his second at-bat, 0-1. Wind continuing to blow out towards right field, so Stewart, who is a bit of a power threat, has an opportunity if he gets into one. The pitch is high. A ball and a strike. That's not to say that we haven't seen a number of opposite field home runs at this ballpark, both lefties to left field and righties to right field, but with 330 down the line and the wind blowing out to right, it is a left-handed hitter's paradise if they can pull one. Pitch is high, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike now to Stewart, who hit his only home run of the season in this ballpark back during the Flyers' first homestand of the season. The 2-1. That's high, and it's 3 balls and a strike. And C.J. Gilman, perhaps an even hotter hitter than Brian Blasek right now, is standing on deck. The 3-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Stewart chased the pitch a little bit up in the zone. And now it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Stewart lifts this foul. Remelard's going to give it a look, but it's going to fall in the Dayton dugout. And it's now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Norlander shakes off the first 2 signs, agrees to the third, and the payoff pitch to Stewart. Lifted in the air, straight up. Remillard looking, Norlander coming in, and the catcher Remillard will be in foul ground and make the play. And that is the second out of this third inning. And with that, here comes C.J. Gilman, who is 0 for 1 today. Hitting from the left-hand side, the switch hitter. Squares the bunt, pulls back, and takes that high for ball 1. Dating back to the first game against Pepperdine, Gilman is now 12 for his last 21. A 1-0 outside corner called strike. And it's 1-1. That includes a couple of impressive performances in which he was not retired at all, including yesterday, a 4-for-4 day, 3 stolen bases, a double, 3 runs scored, 2 RBIs. All in just one game. That pitch is outside, 2 balls and a strike. Didn't hit well in either midweek game against Cincinnati or Miami, but you go back to the Pepperdine series, and again, he was 2 for 3 on Sunday. Prior to that, he was 4 for 5 on Saturday and 1 for 2 with 2 walks on Friday. Outside corner, that's called strike, and Gilman has to step out of the box as once again the strike zone of Chris Perry is questioned, and it's been by both sides. Neither one have been real happy with some of the calls that have been strikes, but he's been pretty consistent. The outside corner he's giving to both pitchers, and that's upstairs. It's now full, 3-2. The interesting call was the third strike call to Blasik, which was a little inside. That was the first time we'd seen him with a called strike on the inside part of the plate. But that outside corner, batters better be prepared to swing. The payoff pitch again to Gilman, and this time he has to swing at the pitch down and away, and he rolls it to Norlander, who throws to first in time to get Gilman. And for the second time today, Norlander has gone through the top of the Flyer batting order, 1-2-3. We'll head to the top of the 4th inning. Flyers 3 and Temple nothing. This is University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Did you know this year more than 186,000 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer? A new case is reported every 2 minutes 45 seconds, and 1 in 6 men are at a lifetime risk of getting the disease. Team up with Major League Baseball to find a cure. Pledge any amount to the Prostate Cancer Foundation's Home Run Challenge. To find out how you can get involved, call 1-800-798-CURE. Again, 1-800-798-CURE.
Hi, my name is Stanley, and I've been arrested for stealing shoes. I didn't really steal them, but I've been sent to Camp Green Lake anyway. The worst punishment a kid could get. And at Camp Green Lake, we dig holes. Lots of holes. I've only been here a short time, but I think the camp director is up to something. I'm Stanley Yelnats, and I'm covering more than dirt at Camp Green Lake. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Holes by Lewis Sacker. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Top of the 4th inning, a 3-0 Flyer lead. Bernie Mitchum's allowed only 1 hit through the first 3. And he'll get Perez, Ferguson, and Nicorak leading off for Temple. 2, 3, and 4 in their batting order here in this 4th inning. Mitchum has 4 strikeouts through the day. That's 189 now for his career. Moving into 3rd place all time on the career strikeout list. He's chasing his teammate Cameron Hobson, is one of the 2 ahead of him. First pitch is a called strike, 0-1. And the 0-1 pitch, that's outside. As ticks off the glove of Welsh and rolls toward the Flyer dugout. A ball and a strike now to Perez. 45 base hits for Perez. That's the team high. And that's outside. 2 balls and a strike. Flyers of playing Temple here for the 2nd straight season in conference play. And Perez lifts that foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. First weekend of April last season, Flyers were in Ambler to take on Temple at their satellite campus. 3-game sweep of the Flyers for the Flyers, in which they outscored Temple 43-16 as Perez ripped that into left field. It's going to one-hop in front of Hundley, and it's a base hit for the Temple shortstop leading off here in the 4th. And he is on with nobody out for the heart now of this Temple order, beginning with Ryan Ferguson, who struck out his first time up, but certainly has the potential with 1 swing to put Temple right back into this ballgame. Each team now with 2 hits to this point. Mitchum looks in and delivers his first pitch, and it's on the ground, is short. Scotchbull has to go right under his glove, and everybody's going to be safe. And now a flip from Scotchbull. Blasik wasn't at second base. But he's able to track the ball down before anybody advances, and that'll be an error on Scotchbull. Looks like he was trying to rush that double play just a little bit. Maybe came up before he had the ball cleanly. And so that'll put runners at first and second with nobody out after Mitchum got the ground ball he wanted to try to turn a double play. And here's Steve Nicorak. Nicorak also with a decent amount of power. 4 homers, 27 RBIs for the Temple third baseman, who calls time to readjust his batting gloves. Now stands in righty-righty matchup, and Mitchum will step and look towards second. No throw made, but don't believe Nicorak, with the way he's hitting and the way that this Temple Owls offense has been hitting, with the exception of yesterday, that Nicorak would be looking to play small ball in this situation. I have a feeling he's swinging away. He is, and he rips the first pitch foul down the right field line and out of play. Nicorak, a senior who has redshirted once, so eligibility-wise a redshirt junior, still has one more season left. Bunts this one, now it is to Mitchum, and he's going to throw to third, and it's in time, a nice play, and Gilman, who retreated to the bag, makes the put out for the first out of the inning. So head coach Rob Valley elected to take the bat out of Nicorak's hands, and all it does is lead to an out. 1-5 on the put out of Perez, and now it's Ferguson at second and Nicorak at first with 1 out for Taylor Duran. Junior from Pittsburgh, did not start yesterday's ball game. Pinched hit in the 9th inning for Ben Flannery and struck out looking against Trent Hahn. Didn't start because Hobson, the lefty, was on the mound, and so Duran, the left-handed hitter, stands in for his second at-bat against Mitchum and takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Duran also struck out his first at-bat against the Flyer right-hander Mitchum, so he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts in this series. Stewart playing behind the runner at first base. That's Nicorak. And Duran pops it up. Mitchum jammed him. And Stewart in foul ground will make the put out for the second out of the inning. So what looked as though it would be a very promising inning for Temple has now turned into a 2-out first and second situation where they're going to need a big hit from their catcher, Will Remillard, to try to get on the board. Remillard grounded out to Blasik, who made a very nice play back in that second inning, ranging to his left, and then doing a nice little pirouette out in shallow right field before throwing to first for the out. Mitchum from the stretch, his first delivery is on the off the outside edge, and they appeal to first, and Remillard did not go. So it's ball 1 to Will Remillard. True freshman starting at catcher out of Cohoes, New York. A 1-0 pitch on the outside corner, a strike. It's 1-1. Remillard actually took the job away from Taylor Duran. Though this team is certainly not short on catchers, with Zach Pettis and Matt Elko also on the roster. And even Ryan Ferguson listed as a catcher/outfielder. The 1-1. In the air, right field. Coughlin a long run. Is he going to get there in time? No. He dives, and it's by him to the wall. 1 run will score for the Owls. And here comes Nicorak. He will follow. Cruising into third is Remillard, who is out at third base. He didn't slide. And I think Gilman applied the tag on the face of Remillard, who was in the process of trying to go down late. Didn't see the sign, and Rob Valley trying to talk to him there and figure out what Remillard was thinking. So it's a double for Remillard. He's thrown out. 9-6-5 on the putout. But he gets 2 RBIs. They'll both be unearned runs. And on those 2 runs, Temple now trails only 3-2 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning here on your home for University of Dayton Baseball. It's the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
When it it comes to using their wireless phones, drivers everywhere are making safety their most important call. Instead of trying to dial or look up numbers,
call Jenny at work.
Many phones offer voice dialing and speed dial features. Learn how to use them. Remember, your wireless phone can be your best safety tool. Don't let it become a distraction. The wireless industry and this radio station remind you, with wireless, safety is your call.
The following is a public service message from this station and calltorecycle.org. Chances are you already recycle paper, glass, and plastic, but it's just as important to recycle old rechargeable batteries. They're the kind you find in power tools, cell and cordless phones, laptops, and other cordless electronics. It's easy and it's free. To learn more, call toll-free 877-2RECYCLE or visit us online at calltorecycle.org. Just remember, if it's rechargeable, it's recyclable.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Runs for the Owls in that top of the fourth inning, and the Flyers' lead is trimmed to 3-2. And so Dayton will have to go back to work against Brant Norlander here in this fourth inning. They'll have 4, 5, and 6 in the order. Castine, Welsh, and Coughlin, and this is the area of the batting order that had success against Norlander in the second inning. A walk for Castine, a single for Welsh, an RBI ground out for Coughlin, an RBI single from Scottspool, and an RBI ground out from Hundley. That's how the Flyers got their 3 runs. As Norlander will toe the rubber. Again, now some blue sky appearing out in the left field distance. And his first pitch to Castine, a strike, 0-1. Castine drew the walk, and he has scored a run in today's ball game. Left-handed hitter waiting in Norlander's delivery. Castine checked his swing. Did he go around? No, says the third base ump, Danny Jimenez. And so it's a ball and a strike. Norlander takes a deep breath and delivers the 1-1. That's off the outside edge. 2 balls and a strike. Norlander, again, with a little bit of a quirky delivery, almost comes straight over the top. Rarely you see that from a right-handed pitcher. A lot of times lefties will come over the top. The 2-1. That stays high. And now it's 3 balls and a strike. Most righties would throw what pitching coaches would term 3/4. Basically at about a 45-degree angle. Not straight up and not straight out. Castine swings and fouls it off, and now the count is full, 3-2. Whereas most lefties are over the top or sidearm. And it's the sidearm lefties that become very difficult for left-handed hitters to hit. A guy like Randy Johnson comes to mind. Payoff pitch from Norlander. And that's low ball 4, and so for the second time today, Castine has led off an inning with a walk. And so with nobody out, he's on at first, and we'll check the out-of-town scoreboard, get you caught up on the rest of the Atlantic 10 here today. They've headed to the top of the 8th now in Philadelphia. LaSalle and Rhode Island are tied at 2. Again, that is the first of 2 games that those 2 teams will play this afternoon, having their game yesterday postponed because of rain. And Welsh swings to the first pitch down and away. It's 0-1. Top of the 3rd inning in Arlington, Virginia, St. Joe's and George Washington are tied at 1. And in a conference matchup in a non-conference game between conference teams, UMass and Fordham are tied at 4. Top of the 8th inning in the Bronx. And that pitch is upstairs, a ball and a strike to Welsh. Those 2 teams both with the quote-unquote buys this week. Again, 13 teams now in the Atlantic 10, which certainly makes for more creative scheduling. Richmond, St. Bonaventure, and Dayton had it last week. And the Flyers went to Pepperdine. Pitches in the dirt, throw down to second. It's going to get by and into center field, so Castine will advance to third base. And so Castine will get a stolen base. He'll advance to second on the second throwing error of the day for Will Remillard. And he's now in scoring position, and Welsh is ahead in the count 2-1. Welsh, they say, did not swing at that pitch, so it's 2 balls and a strike now. To the Flyer catcher who singled his last time up has a chance here to pick up an RBI. He can even do it with an out with the defense, especially up the middle, back. 2-1. And that's in the air to right center field. It's going to fall for a base hit and roll into the gap. Ferguson will watch it bounce off the wall, and Welsh will cruise into second with an RBI double. And the Flyers tack on another run and expand their lead back to 2. It's now 4-2. So again, the Flyers' success on the base paths leads to runs, and that is exactly what Coach Vittorio was hoping for. With these new bats, which are not nearly as dynamic as the bats from the last couple of seasons, have been deadened, if you will. The home runs are down, doubles are down, batting average is down across the country. And so playing small ball becomes much more important. Flyers do have a lot of speed on the team and a lot of intelligent base runners, even those who aren't maybe the fastest, as Coughlin takes a called strike. A guy like C.J. Gilman comes to mind, who, again, not tremendous speed, but is 10 for 11 in stolen base attempts. And you see already today, Castine a stolen base and Scottsville a stolen base. They've each gotten extra bases beyond that because of throwing errors. Pressure on the defense, as that's a called strike to Coughlin, 0-2. That's all the Flyers have been preaching. Put pressure on the defense, make them handle the baseball. And the more they throw it, the better chance they have of making errors and making mental errors, physical errors, and leading to extra bases and runs. The 0-2 pitch. Coughlin fouls it off to stay alive. Coughlin an RBI ground out in his first at-bat. So he's now got 8 RBIs on the season. And a base hit could drive home another with Welsh at second. Nobody out. Bottom of the fourth. Right-hander Norlander looks at second, now delivers, and it's swung on and missed. Coughlin chased that pitch a bit off the outside edge. And it's the 4th strikeout of the day for Norlander, and there's 1 gone here in the 4th.
Shortstop, number 10, Mel Scottsdale.
And here's Mel Scottsdale, singled in the 2nd inning. Picked up an RBI on that base hit, driving in Dan Welsh, and then stole second, advanced to third on the throwing error. The right-hander stands in, and the first pitch from Norlander drops low for ball 1. Scottsville has started every game at shortstop, beginning with the 4th game of the season, the first Sunday of the regular season against Bradley, and has been in the lineup ever since. The 1-0. That's on the outside edge, a strike, 1-1. Basically stole the starting job from fellow freshman Robbie Sunderman. Again, Welsh leads from second. There's 1 gone here in the 4th. And Norlander will step and look that way. And Welsh retreats to the bag. Later on today in Atlantic 10 play, we'll see Rhode Island and LaSalle Game 2. It's scheduled to start around 3:30, though they've moved pretty quickly through their first game, so likely see that start time moved up a bit. They're in the top of the 8th inning already in their first game. Scottsdale looks at that one a little low. 2 balls and a strike. Just about set to get underway. 2 more conference games. St. Bonaventure and Richmond down in Virginia. After the Spiders took the first game of that series 3-0. And Charlotte, a 5-0 win over Xavier, will play game 2 against the Musketeers. Getting underway just about now. That's a called strike, and it's 2-2 to Scottsdale now. 1 out. Welsh the runner at second base. Flyers a 4-2 lead. Looking for more here in the bottom of the 4th. Ian Hunley standing on deck waiting. Scottsdale waves the bat over his right shoulder. Welsh runs. The pitch is in the dirt. The throw down to third, and he is out at third base. Remillard with a great throw. It wasn't a great pitch to handle. It was up a little upstairs. But he made a very good throw, put it right on the money. Nickerak applied the tag, and Welsh is thrown out for the second out of the inning. And now the count is full on Scotchtopol. And Norlander kicks and delivers. And that's high, ball 4. So Scotchtopol draws a walk, and every once in a while, that aggressiveness on the base paths will come back to hurt you. And right there, the Flyers give up a runner in scoring position on the attempt at stolen base. And here's Ian Hundley. Hundley, who has changed his walk-up song from yesterday to today, stands in 0 for 1, an RBI groundout in his first at-bat. Hitting with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th, and Scotchtopol on at first, being held by Flannery, and now time is called. Now we're ready to go again as Norlander comes to the set and delivers. And the first pitch drops inside to Ian Hundley. 1 ball, no strikes. Non-conference action will begin around 3:30 between Albany and Massachusetts. That's after UMass finishes their first game. And they're in the top of the 8th, tied at 4 with Fordham. And then Missouri State and St. Louis, a 3 o'clock Eastern start, 2 o'clock Central start. Again, another non-conference matchup. It's Fordham, UMass, and St. Louis who have the byes this week. After that, it'll be just one team. 6 teams through the first 2 weeks. The final 7 weeks, just one team apiece. So there'll be 6 conference series starting next weekend for the rest of the season. The 1-0. Pitch is high, and Remillard's throw down to second, and it's going to be in time, and Scotchtopol is retired. So the Flyers thrown out trying to steal 2 bases, 2-5, and this one 2-6 on the putout. And Dayton runs themselves out of a bit of a bigger inning, but they do get 1 run on the RBI double from Dan Welsh, and we're through 4 here in Dayton. It is 4-2 Flyers on your home for University of Dayton baseball. It's the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
It's a simple but critically important message for those with multiple sclerosis. Getting on treatment early and staying on treatment helps lessen disability. There are 6 FDA-approved treatments for multiple sclerosis. Research has proven that these MS treatments help slow disease activity, reduce the frequency and severity of flare-ups, and delay disease progression and disability. In short, these MS treatments work. Let them work for you. To learn more, call your doctor. To receive a free brochure on this very important topic, please contact the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America at 1-800-532-7667 or visit msassociation.org. That's 1-800-532-7667 or msassociation.org.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Top of the 5th inning, Bernie Mitchum back on the hill for the Flyers. He's thrown 4 innings to this point, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits. Both of them earned. Actually, one of them is unearned. And he'll get 7, 8, 9. Jaber Khan, Ben Flannery, and Cameron Green. The first pitch from the right-handers upstairs, ball 1. Khan is 0 for 1, struck out his first at-bat. Takes that outside. So it's 2 balls and no strikes to the Temple center fielder. Outfield, infield, both straight up. And Khan lifts this in the air on the infield. Left side, foul ground now as Gilman moves over, and Welsh will call him off and make the play. And so a foul pop for Khan is the first out here of this 5th inning. By the way, both of those runs in the 4th inning are unearned. Confirmation from our official scorer, Roy Cassidy. Always doing a fantastic job, as long as you don't give him a microphone. The first pitch is a called strike, 0-1. Batter Ben Flannery, and takes that a little low. It's now a ball and a strike to Flannery, who flew out to right field his first time up. Again, was 0 for 3 yesterday, so he's 0 for 4 in the series. The 1-1 pitch. And that's ripped down the left field line. Will it stay fair? It will not. Landing just to the left of the third base line in foul ground, and now it's a ball and 2 strikes. Flannery came into the series hitting just a shade over 300. He's now down to 288. He has no homers and 9 RBIs. The senior stands 6'8", 250 from Marlton, New Jersey, and he takes it on the outside corner, a called strike 3. And once again, folks, if the pitch is on the outside edge, you might want to swing. There are 2 down here in this top of the 5th inning. So Cameron Green to the plate. He's 0 for 1. A fly ball to right field in his first at-bat on a very good play by Mike Coughlin. Takes that pitch low and away. 4-1 in this at-bat. Mitchum has had 2 1-2-3 innings in his 4 that he's pitched so far, and that's lifted way foul off the roof of the clubhouse and out of play. A ball and a strike to Cameron Green as the rain clouds have moved out, and some puffy white clouds with blue sky behind it has moved in. The 1-1. That's a breaking ball a little low. Count goes to 2-1 now. Green, a 253 hitter. Lowest in the lineup. And he rips that right at Mel Scotchapel, who snags it for the final out of the inning. So Mitchum has now thrown 3 1-2-3 innings in his 5 innings of work, and we're halfway home here at Time Warner Cable Stadium. Dayton 4, Temple 2. This is University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Mom, Dad, I'm in 8th grade now. That means those years of peer pressure are way behind me. From here on out, it's all about good grades and living up to your totally realistic expectations. Alcohol is probably the last thing on my mind. Like you said, I'm too young to drink. When I'm with my friends, all we talk about are current events and boy bands. We're definitely not curious about what alcohol tastes like or why the older kids drink. And do I notice when you have a drink at dinner? Of course not. Just like I haven't noticed where you keep the alcohol. Oh, and if the opportunity arises to talk to me about drinking, you should definitely continue to avoid it. And if you do bring it up, just remind me that I'm too young. That'll probably do the trick.
Real kids are curious about alcohol. 40% try it by the 8th grade. Start a real conversation at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. Talk early, talk often, get others involved. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Bottom of the 5th inning, and the Flyers will send 8-9-1. Hundley, Glover, Blasik to the plate. Hundley was at the plate when Scotchapel was thrown out trying to steal, which ended the 4th inning for the Flyers. One of 2 runners that were thrown out trying to steal. So they've stolen 2 bases successfully, and they've been thrown out twice, 2 for 4, but it doesn't tell the whole story because on both successful stolen base attempts, Remolard's throwing into center field. And so the Flyers got an extra base on both of those as well. Hundley waves at the first pitch low and away. So he's in a 1-strike count. Again, the RBI ground out his first time up. Sophomore out of Moeller High School. Sees that one bounce up there. It's a ball and a strike. Again, one of 4 Moeller High School graduates on this Flyer team. Willie Ballbach, Kevin Thaman, and Robbie Sunderman are the other 3. Sunderman and Thaman, both freshmen. They and Hundley were on the same team for 3 years. The 1-1. That's a called strike. Ballbach did not play with Sunderman or Thaman. He was a senior when Hundley was a freshman. He's a redshirt senior right now. The 1-2 pitch coming. And Hundley rolls this one back to the mound. Fielded cleanly by Norlander, and he throws out. The speedy left fielder for the Flyers for the first out of the inning here in the 5th. That'll bring Bobby Glover to the plate, who had a rope to center field that hung up long enough for Jaber Khan to track it down. And so with one out, Glover will hit here. And Glover swings through the first offering. It's 0-1. Lifted in the air, left field line. It's going to be a fair ball down into the corner. And Glover will be in for extra bases as he'll cruise into second. McCoy relays it in. And there's one out, and now the Flyers have a runner on second base. For Glover, he picks up his 7th double of the season. And is in scoring position for the top of the order. Here's Brian Blasek, still in search of a hit, trying to continue his 18-game hitting streak and, more importantly, add to the Flyer lead here this afternoon. Glover with good speed on at second base. And the first pitch from Norlander drops in the dirt. Remillard with a good block. And it's 1 ball, no strikes to count. Zach Stewart waiting on deck. Blasek standing in for a long time as Norlander stares in. Now finally has the sign he wants. Blasek being very patient. And the 1-0 pitch. And he lifts this in the air to center field. Kahn moving over and moving back now towards right center will make the catch. Glover's going to try to tag, and Kahn's throw is off his back foot, and Glover will easily advance to third. So he picks up an extra 90 feet, but for Temple, more importantly, they pick up a second out here in this inning. So now the Flyers will need a hit from Zach Stewart to drive home a run. Blasek is now 0 for 3 here in the 5th. 0 for 3 this game. Speaking of 0-fers, Zach Stewart 0 for 2 so far today. A struck out and popped out to second base. And the first offering blocked by Remillard in the dirt. 4-1. Stewart is hitting only .212 with runners in scoring position. Interesting statistic considering he's second on the team in RBIs. The 1-0. And he rips that in the air right field. That is fair. It's gone, and it will be gone. Down the line, Stewart got a hold of one and took it out beyond the 330 mark down the right field line. A 2-run homer for Zach Stewart, his second as a Flyer. And Dayton has added 2 more to the lead. They now lead 6-2. Those 2 RBIs now give Stewart 18 on the season. And an interesting decision coming here as C.J. Gilman is going to bat right-handed against the right-hander Norlander. So this is a little interesting. Maybe didn't like the calls he was getting in the left-handed batter's box. I don't know. But the first pitch is taken low, ball 1. This will be the first time that Gilman has hit from the same side from which the pitcher throws. The only switch hitter on the Flyers team. The 1-0. That bounces up there. 2 balls, no strikes. Also maybe trying to throw Norlander off a little bit. If he's trying to do that, it's worked. Flyers 6 runs now on just 5 hits. They've taken advantage of just about every opportunity they've had to get a runner on base. And the 2-0, and Gilman took a big cut and fouled it off his leg, and he's going to hobble halfway down to first base, trying to walk that off. And Coach Vittorio is going to march down the line and make sure his third baseman's okay. I think he also wants to talk to the junior, who is actually more like a redshirt senior because he redshirted his freshman year at Coastal Carolina. And now, after the conversation, Gilman is going to turn around and hit left-handed now for the rest of the at-bat. And so Gilman switches around, ahead in the count 2-1. Norlander, seemingly unfazed by it all, delivers the 2-1 pitch, and it's tapped on the ground to second. Green will field, throw to first. Gilman's retired. And so are the Flyers here in the fifth, but not before Zach Stewart goes deep. A 2-run home run for the junior first baseman, and Dayton adds to their lead. They are up 6-2 here on your home for University of Dayton baseball. This is the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
This is nice.
I was hoping you'd like it. It's my special recipe.
I'm sorry, sir, but it appears as though your credit card has been declined.
Did everyone hear that? This person right here, credit card declined. If we can please have an awkward silence the next 10 seconds.
Whoa, what's with the megaphone?
Just trying to properly illustrate your embarrassment and humiliation to the public, sir.
What?
If everyone could start mumbling and shaking their heads. Nice. Ma'am, I like that with the pointing. He's shaking like a leaf. Good job.
Hey, buddy, please. I'm with a date here. Look, so I'm late on a few payments. I'll make it up next month. Promise.
Mm-hmm. He promises to pay it all back next month. Can we have an aww?
Don't worry, Adam. It happens to everybody. This has no effect on our date whatsoever.
Really?
Yes, really. There just won't be another one. See ya.
And she's off.
Wait, come back. I have other cards. I have other restaurants.
Putting more on your card than you can afford to spend can lead to even bigger problems, like public humiliation. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Top of the sixth inning. Flyers a 6-2 lead. They've out-hit Temple 5-3, and anytime you have more runs than you have hits, you're doing something well. And for the Flyers, they're taking advantage of just about every base runner that has been on base. In fact, to this point in 5 innings, the Flyers have not actually left anybody on base. They've had 2 base runners thrown out trying to steal, and the other 6 have scored. As Mitchum begins the 6th inning, they'll get the top of the Temple order, beginning with Byron McCoy, and the first pitch is bunted straight back to the screen. No balls and a strike. McCoy trying to make something happen here for Temple, who have really not managed a whole lot offensively against any Flyer pitcher this weekend. Hobson held him in check for 7 2/3, run. Hahn an inning and a third scoreless to finish the game yesterday, and Mitchum 2 unearned runs so far today. That pitch was a little low. McCoy ahead 2-1. And he lifts this in the air, right center field. Coughlin going back, as is the center fielder Glover, and it's going to one-hop the wall. Glover throws it in, and McCoy stands at second with his second double of this weekend series. The last time he doubled, he scored, and he stands on second base with nobody out here in this 6th inning. As Temple trails by 4, looking to try to claw their way back in. You can hear the Temple contingency sitting right in front of the press box here, cheering on their Owls, trying to rally them to get back in the game against Mitchum. Perez is 1 for 2. And Mitchum will step and look back to second. Struck out in the first, singled leading off the 4th inning, and was on second base when Nicorak tried to sacrifice with nobody out and was thrown out at third. Pitch in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes to Perez. Temple wants to make something happen. This is the time to do it. With the top of the order at the plate. Before the Flyers can begin working either Tim Corby or Mike Hochschild down in that bullpen. Mitchum will be joined at the mound by Welsh just for a 2-second chat. Make sure they're on the same page signal-wise would be my guess. The runner at second base making sure they know what's going on. So again, Mitchum will straighten up, look at McCoy at second and deliver, and that's inside to Perez. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Mitchum to this point does not have a win but he has pitched 2 very, very good ball games, actually 3 really good ball games in a row, 2 of which he wound up losing. The 2-0 pitch, outside corner, a strike, 2-1. Got a no decision in his last start against Pepperdine, a game the Flyers eventually won 3-1 with 2 runs in the 9th inning. Mike Hochschild picked up the win in that, his team leading 5. In the air to left field, it'll fall for a base hit. Hundley's going to come up and relay the ball in. And so Perez is at first, and they hold McCoy at third. And Temple now has runners at the corners with nobody out, and their 2 big bats, Ryan Ferguson and Steve Nicorak, coming up. And for those that didn't see or didn't hear Zach Stewart's ball just moments ago, the ball is traveling well to right field, and here's Ryan Ferguson with his team down 4. The runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the 6th. Mitchum looks at third, now delivers. And it's an outside corner strike to Ferguson, who shakes his head. 0-1. Ferguson struck out in the first inning, reached on an error in the 4th, and later came around to score. Part of the 2 unearned runs Mitchum has allowed to this point. He lifts that in the air left field. Well hit, but will stay in the yard. Hundley backing up. Camps under it. Makes the catch. McCoy will tag, and Hundley will simply throw into second base. And Ferguson will get credit for a sac fly. And also an RBI as McCoy scores. Perez holds at first. And Temple cuts the Dayton lead to 6-3. So for Ferguson, he now has 2 RBIs in the series and has 33 to this point in the season. And here's Steve Nicorak, now just a runner at first and 1 out. The double play ball would end the inning. And Nicorak hits it right over the head of Mitchum. Blasek will field it, will flip to second. As a smart play by Perez, he just stopped in the baseline, so Blasek couldn't tag him out. And alertly, Blasek just flipped to second to make sure he got the lead runner. 4-6 on the fielder's choice. So good play all around by everybody involved, both on Dayton's side and Temple's side. Making the best of the situation both ways. And there's a runner at first. 2 down for the Owls, and here's Taylor Duran. Struck out and popped out to first. And the left-hander takes the first pitch up and away for ball 1. Flyers a 6-3 lead, each team now with 5 hits. And Mitchum delivers. That's on the outside corner, a strike. And it's 1-1. Rhode Island has pulled ahead of LaSalle 3-2, bottom of the 8th inning in Philadelphia. The Rams coming off of a 1-2 weekend, as are the Explorers. Rhode Island was at Charlotte last week. That's outside. 2 balls and a strike. LaSalle opened up at home against Fordham, and after winning the first game, lost Saturday and Sunday. And again, they'll play 2 today. This is just game 1. After getting rained out yesterday, Mitchum throws over to first, back safely is Nicorak. They've begun in Richmond, where the Spiders now hold a 1-0 lead over St. Bonaventure, bottom of the first inning. Richmond took game 1 of that series 3-0 yesterday, so looking to maintain their undefeated mark. And Duran looks at that on the outside corner, a strike, and mutters something about probably the ball being outside. And it's 2-2 now to Taylor Duran. 2 outs. We are in the 6th inning. Nicorak measures his lead from first as Mitchum throws over, and he's back safely. St. Joe's a 2-1 lead over George Washington, bottom of the 5th in Arlington, Virginia, after the Colonials took a 6-5 win in their first game yesterday. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Duran chased down and away. Slaps the bat in frustration, and he's 0 for 3, and Mitchum is out of the 6th inning. But Temple gets a run on the sac fly from Ferguson. At the end of 5.5 innings, Temple trailing Dayton 6-3 on your home for University of Dayton baseball. It's the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
I'm Howie Mandel. Did you know attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in adults is a real and treatable medical disorder? I know because I am one of the estimated 10 million adults in the U.S. who have ADHD. The symptoms of ADHD, inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, make it difficult to pay attention and focus, be organized, complete tasks, and maintain relationships. Talk to your doctor. With the right treatment plan, you can stay focused and organized. Take an ADHD self-screener and learn more about adult ADHD at adultadhdisreal.com.
Energy efficiency interviews are brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
April.
Yeah?
So you know your charger that's plugged into the wall? It's still using energy, even though it's not attached to a phone.
That's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone. You know what? I'll just unplug it. I'm busy. I'll call you back.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse? Learn more at loseyourexcuse.gov.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Bottom of the sixth inning, Flyers ahead 6-3, and they will send the heart of the batting order, 4-5-6, Castine, Welsh, and Coughlin to the plate. Castine is still looking for his first official at-bat of the day. He's walked twice and has scored both times. Also has a stolen base today. As Dayton, again, with that 3-run advantage, looking to add to it off of Brant Norlander.
For the Flyers, designated hitter, Jonathan Castine.
As more gray storm clouds have begun rolling back over the field. And Castine checked his swing but went around on the first offering from Norlander, 0-1. Some bullpen action will begin for the Owls. That's right-hander Steve Visnick, who saw action in yesterday's ball game, beginning to loosen up his arm down the left field line. Norlander kicks and deals the 0-1. That's high. And now it's a ball and a strike. Castine continuing to hit right-handers well. He's still a .281 hitter against righties. That bounces up there. 2 balls and a strike. This compared to a difficult 160 against lefties. He's 4 for 25 there. He hits here with nobody on and nobody out, leading off the 6th inning. And Norlander, the slow kick and delivery. That's high, and it's 3 balls and a strike. Finish up that scoreboard for you from the rest of Atlantic 10 Conference play here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Norlander ready, the 3-1 pitch. That's high, ball 4. And it's the 3rd straight time that Castine has led off an inning with a walk. Does not have an at-bat today. Really hasn't needed a bat today. And here's Dan Welsh, who is 2 for 2. Singled and scored a run in the 2nd, doubled and drove in a run in the 4th, then was thrown out trying to steal 3rd. So Castine measures a short lead with Flannery holding him on. Now advances his lead as the offering to Welsh is swung on and missed. No balls and a strike. Charlotte and Xavier, top of the 2nd inning, down in North Carolina. Those teams tied at 1. Charlotte shut out the Musketeers 5-0 yesterday to improve to 3-1, holding the best record in the conference. The 0-1 pitch is inside to Welsh, a ball and a strike. Again, the Flyers do not play the 49ers this season. Very nice schedule shaping up for the Flyers this year. They get Rhode Island and Richmond both at home, as well as Xavier, the 1-1. And Welsh on the ground, and nice glove by Perez. Will have to make a long throw to first, and it's over the head of Flannery. And everybody's going to move up another base, as Welsh will go into 2nd, and Castine will go down to 3rd. Perez probably should have tried to eat that ball. And maybe Welsh gets a base hit on that. And then the throwing error will advance everybody. Castine running on the pitch is what forced Perez to really have a tough play on that. But he was able to make the play and then just threw errantly to first base and probably wouldn't have had Welsh anyway. So now Temple's got to bring the infield in with nobody out, and Coughlin at the plate. He's 0 for 2, but does have an RBI ground out. It just has to get the ball in the air here to get a run. And the first pitch is low, ball 1 to Coughlin. He was also struck out, and that will now draw a visit to the mound from pitching coach Tim Perry. And we'll remind you that our next broadcast is tomorrow afternoon. It's a noon start time here at Time Warner Cable Stadium, the third and final game of this opening weekend of conference play for the Flyers. Again, for Temple, they are 1-2. They were just 45 minutes south of here last weekend as the rain has now returned. They were 1-2 after losing to Xavier in that series. A chance the Owls really had a chance to win that series. They lost the first game 10-4, won the second game 4-3, and were up 7-5 in game 3 in the 9th inning. But gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning as the Musketeers rallied for the victory. And then losing game 1 here, so Temple 1-3 now on the season. Dayton trying to make them 1-4, and Coughlin can really do some damage to that effect here. But he swings to the pitch down and away, and now it's another strike, and now hail beginning to fall. Some pretty large hailstones falling here at Time Warner Cable Stadium. The Flyers are loving it in the dugout. I don't think the Flyers on the field love it as much. There now Castine is going to be caught in a rundown as the pitch was high. They tried to squeeze, and he will get tagged out by Remillard, and Castine will be caught stealing. Really no way Coughlin could try to bunt that ball, as even for him that pitch was almost over his head. And really just it was just a real difficult way for Coughlin to try to bunt that ball. And so Castine is caught stealing, 2 unassisted on that, as Remillard just ran him down. 1 out, Welsh still on at second. And it's 2 balls and a strike to Coughlin. It's tough to throw a pitch above Coughlin's head, by the way. The guy who stands in 6'3". And he swings to that pitch on the outside corner, and now it's 2-2. And the Flyers may be seeing their aggressiveness coming back to hurt them here in the last couple of innings. Had some success on the base paths early, but that's now 3 straight base runners that have been eliminated via caught stealings. Coughlin checks his swing and rips it off the fence just to the right of the dugout. Down the right field line, it remains 2-2. And again, to the point, the Flyers have yet to strand a base runner today. The only runners that haven't scored are the ones that have been thrown out on the base paths. So Welsh leads from second. Norlander delivers the 2-2. That's inside and low. Good block from Remillard, and the count runs full on Mike Coughlin. Mel Scotchtaple, who's 1 for 1 with a walk, stands on deck. Bottom of the 9th inning in the Bronx. UMass has pulled ahead of Fordham 5-4, trying to hold on for the victory in a non-conference game between 2 Atlantic 10 teams. Now the 3-2 pitch, and Coughlin chops this foul into the Temple dugout this time, and will stay alive, and we'll do the full count pitch over again. The hail has ceased, and for the most part now, as has the rain. And the old adage proving true, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. As Welsh again measures his lead. It's a short one to this point. Norlander coming to the set, 1 out, and a payoff pitch coming. He kicks and delivers to Coughlin. Now it's outside and low, ball 4. Second walk of the inning for Norlander, and now it's first and second with 1 out. And here's Mel Scotchtaple.
Now batting number 10, shortstop Mel Scotchtaple.
So instead of bases loaded and nobody out, the Flyers have first and second and 1 out. And Norlander has now thrown 111 pitches. 112 will be this offering to Scotchable. And again, Visnick is still loosening in that bullpen. Though he has put his warm-up sweater back on. And the first pitch from Norlander is low, ball one. And nobody really throwing all that hard out there, just kind of gently loosening their arms. So it doesn't look like anybody's ready to come in for Norlander at the moment. The 1-0 pitch. And Scotchable lifts that foul out of play. It's a ball and a strike to the Flyers shortstop. An update from the Bronx. Fordham, 2 runs, bottom of the 9th, and they beat UMass 6-5. So UMass now will play Albany. Tomorrow, Fordham will play Albany. The 1-1. Swung on and missed. Scotchable chased that pitch that dropped down and in. And he's in the hole 1-2. UMass just down for the doubleheader today. Fordham and Albany will play a doubleheader tomorrow. And Welsh is looked back to the bag by Norlander. Speaking of come from behinds, an update from Philadelphia as well. LaSalle has done the same thing. 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th there. And they beat Rhode Island 4-3. In the dirt, and Remillard is able to hold off anybody advancing. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And with the win, LaSalle now improves to 2-2 on the season, and Rhode Island is a shocking 1-3 to start conference play. So Welsh leads from second, Coughlin from first. The 2-2 to Scotchable is in the dirt, blocked by Remillard again. And the count is now full with 1 out to Mel Scotchable here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Flyers lead at 6-3, and they're looking for more. They out-hit Temple 6-5, and the Owls have made 3 errors, including 2 throwing errors by the catcher Remillard. And now they almost had Welsh picked off at second, but Norlander elected not to make the throw. Scotchable waves the bat across the plate as Norlander comes to the high set. Looks back at second. Welsh measures his lead. The runners take off, and the pitch is on the ground to third, and it's by the third baseman Nicarack and into left field. Welsh will score, but Coughlin will hold up at second base as McCoy relays it in quickly to third, but it is an RBI single for Mel Scotchable. It's his 2nd run batted in of the day. And the Flyers add to their lead at 7-3, and they're still first and second with 1 out. And Ian Hundley is going to be lifted here for a pinch hitter. Joe Gaeta, the announced pinch hitter, as Coach Vittorio stands in with the home plate umpire Chris Perry to make sure they've got everything squared away. As Joe Gaeta will see his first action of the series. Still suffering from an injured medial metatarsal, which is really just a really nasty name for a bone in your foot. And that's what he's suffering from. It's a left ankle, really, just below where the ankle meets the foot, where he is injured, and it's really affected his running, his range in the outfield. And is limited basically to pinch hitting duty, and every once in a while is DH. I think he's only played 2 games in left field to this point. One of them as a starter and one coming in late in the ball game. First pitch to Gate is on the outside corner, a strike. That said, he's 9 for 31. And has had a couple big pinch hits in his career. The 0-1. Just off the edge, ball and a strike to Gaeta. Gaeta is a redshirt sophomore. Native of Strongsville, Ohio. Also another guy used quite frequently in that leadoff spot last year for the Flyers. With a tremendous on-base percentage. Takes a lot of walks and gets hit with a lot of pitches. Five walks and a hit by pitch to this point in the season for Gaeta this year. Had a big pinch hit against Wofford last season. That's what you hear in the opening. That scored 2 runs and tied the game, capped a 6-run ninth inning comeback, and he pops this one up, shallow right field. Ferguson, a long run. He's still coming in, and he'll make the catch. And Scotchbull has to retreat to first base. Ferguson, had he dropped the ball, may have had multiple outs because Coughlin was standing at second base. Scotchbull a little further off the bag at first. But he had a long way to go before tracking that down, and now there are 2 outs here in this 6th inning. Here's Bobby Glover, who doubled and scored a run in his last at-bat, and that might be it for Norlander as Rob Valley is headed out to the mound. And it looks like he will be ready to make a change. It'll actually be Jimmy Devine now who's been loosening as Visnick is sat down, and it'll be Devine called in to replace Norlander. So with a pitching change here in the bottom of the 6th inning, we'll step aside. Flyers 7, Temple 3 back after this on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Hey, remember that one? That was big in the 60s, back when gas was like 30 cents a gallon, a house 22 grand, cigarettes a quarter a pack. But the packs came with a warning from the U.S. Surgeon General. Cigarette smoking causes lung cancer. Hey, it proved to be right. Music's changed, and so have prices. Gas is almost $3 a gallon. A decent house costs $250,000, and a pack of cigarettes is about $5. But now, there's another cancer warning from the U.S. Surgeon General. Radon causes lung cancer, and radon can cause lung cancer whether you smoke or not. Radon is an invisible, odorless gas that seeps into your home from underground. The only way to know if you have high levels of radon in your home is to have your home tested. The U.S. Surgeon General recommends it. Radon problems can be fixed. To learn more, call 1-800-SOS-RADON, 1-800-SOS-RADON, or click on epa.gov/radon from this station and the U.S. EPA.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Jimmy Devine, the new pitcher for Temple. Best stats on the ball club, a 1.83 ERA, far and away the lowest. He's 3-1, making his 8th appearance. He has started 2 games prior to this appearance here. 19 2/3 innings, 17 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned. He's walked 12 and has struck out 21, and he replaces Brant Norlander, whose final line score is yet to be completed. To this point, it's 5 2/3 innings, 7 runs, 6 earned, and he is responsible again for the runners at first and second, which is Scotchbull and Coughlin accordingly. 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he did not hit a batter. And again, those 2 runners on base are his responsibility. And it'll be Devine to face Bobby Glover. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Norlander, by the way, threw 120 pitches. And the first pitch is a called strike, 0-1. The Flyers have picked up a lot of new features to their dugout cheers, courtesy of Pepperdine University out on the West Coast. And one of which is when someone gets walked, when he steps on first base, he gets a large round of applause. That's a pitch in the dirt, and both runners are going to move up a base. Wild pitch will advance Coughlin to third, and Scotch to pull up to second. And now a base hit could score 2 more runs and really kind of put this game firmly in the grasp of the Flyers. Already a 7-3 lead, and 2 runners now in scoring position. If Glover continues the inning, Brian Blasek will hit next. He waits on deck as it's a 1-1 count now to the Flyers center fielder. And the pitch. Ripped foul out of play. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. George Washington and St. Joe's are tied at 3, top of the 6th inning in Arlington, Virginia. Xavier and Charlotte tied at 1, top of the 3rd in North Carolina. And Richmond a 2-0 lead, bottom of the 2nd over St. Bonaventure in Virginia. That pitch dives down and away from Devine. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Glover. Runners lead from 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. And Devine's pitch is inside and it hit him. Glover will head down to first base, hit by the pitch from Devine. And so now the Flyers have the bases loaded for Brian Blasek. And boy, what a time this would be to get your hit to continue to 19. 18 games in a row, Blasek has a hit. He's 0 for 3 to this point. Has flown out to right, struck out looking, and flown out to center. And the bases are loaded with Coughlin at 3rd, Scotchapel 2nd, Glover at 1st. And you get better as you go around the bases with the speed. And the first pitch is inside from Devine for ball 1. And Blasek looked like he wouldn't have been too upset if that had hit him. 20 for 49. Still hitting over 400. But just barely. The 1-0 pitch from Devine. And in the air to right field, Ferguson will camp underneath of it as this will stay in the yard. He'll make the catch, and that retires the side. So the Flyers leave their first 3 runners on base today. The sack's full as Blasek flies out, and we are through 6 innings. Here at Time Warner Cable Stadium, it is Dayton 7 and Temple 3. You're listening to University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
If I could have a heart-to-heart with my dad.
If I could have a heart-to-heart with my mom.
If I had a heart-to-heart with my dad,
I'd probably talk about sports.
I'd probably talk to her about boys and dating.
I guess I would probably talk about where she wanted to be when she was my age.
I really think that I would ask him about his choices through school and how they affected his life later on.
if I could have a heart-to-heart with my mom,
I'd probably talk about girls.
We'd probably talk about girls.
Anything boys, dating, school, work, clothes.
I guess I'd ask my mom who she went to for advice.
Just like what's coming up and what I'm planning on doing with my life.
You'd be amazed at what they'll talk about if you give them the chance.
If I had a heart-to-heart with my dad,
If it were real heart-to-heart, I'd tell my parents what I'm going through.
I'd probably talk to him about growing up.
I'd probably tell my dad that I wish we'd do more stuff together.
I don't think it has to be a heart-to-heart. I just want to talk.
Give your family everything. Give them your time. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Top of the seventh inning, the Flyers now with a 4-run advantage yet again, responding to Temple's run in the sixth with a run of their own, and so we head to the seventh inning. Mike Ipsick here with you, and what is now again an overcast day this Saturday afternoon in Dayton, Ohio. Glad you're with us. It'll be Remillard, Kahn, and Flannery due up for Temple as they continue to hit against Bernie Mitchum, and the pitch is high to lead off this seventh inning, ball one. Remillard 1 for 2, a big 2-run double in the fourth inning, then was thrown out trying to stretch it into a triple. And he lifts that foul out of play. A ball and a strike to Remillard. Right-handed hitting catcher for Temple. Facing the right-handed starter for the Flyers, Mitchum, who delivers outside, 2 balls and a strike. Flyers used Trent Hahn for an inning and a third yesterday, so if Mitchum is unable to throw a complete game, which to this point is probably likely. Off the middle, base hit for Remillard. He's got 2 hits. And so assuming the Flyers do need relief, the likely candidates, Trent Hahn having been used yesterday, would be Tim Corby and Mike Hochschild. One or the other. And if the Flyers can get away without using Hochschild here today, they would have him available to start tomorrow if they so choose in place of Tim Bury. That's kind of the thought process the Flyers have been using the last couple of weeks with their starting rotation and bullpen. Mitchum's first offering to Kahn, right back to the mound. He'll throw to second. There's one out. The relay is going to be wide and not in time. It pulled Stewart off the bag, but Kahn was going to be safe anyway. So the fielder's choice will retire Remillard, 1-4 on the putout there. And now Jaber Khan is the runner at first. And this will be the first time the Flyers will get to see him on the base paths today. He was hit by a pitch in yesterday's ball game and was unable to advance as McCoy, with 2 outs, struck out right after him. Flannery lifts the first pitch foul out of play. It's 0-1 to the Temple first baseman, 0 for 2 to this point. In fact, the bottom third of the Temple order is a combined 0 for 7. Flannery struggled against both Hobson and Mitchum. Outside corner strike as Flannery broke his hands, didn't commit, and now he's down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Kahn measures his lead from first as Stewart holds him on. Mitchum delivers the 0-2, and it's swung on and missed. Flannery way late on that one. And he is struck out for the second time this afternoon, and there are 2 gone here in the 7th. So Cameron Green will be the hitter now. A fly ball to right and a line drive to Scotch to pull it short. An 0 for 2 day to this point. And a check over at Kahn at first base, and he's back safely. Flyers again trying to get above 500 for the first time in about a month. That's lifted foul out of play. No balls and a strike. They were 4-3 when they returned home from Spartanburg, went down and got swept by High Point, and haven't been above 500 since. They've been within a game of 500. And actually have even been at 500. They were 9-9 at one point. A check over again of the runner at first base, and he's back safely. But they now stand at 13-13 overall, looking for their 8th home win of the year. As Mitchum deals the 0-1, that's outside. A ball and a strike. Temple, meanwhile, again was picked last in the conference after a 10-17 season in conference play last year. Maybe surprised some people with the 4-3 win over Xavier last weekend, and probably could have even raised some more eyebrows if they had hung on to that second game of the doubleheader. As that's outside, now it's 2 balls and a strike to Cameron Green. 2 down, we're in the top of the 7th. Dayton holding a 7-3 lead. They've out-hit Temple 7-6, and the Owls have made 3 errors to the 1 by Mel Scotchable for the Flyers. And Green rips that off the netting above the first base dugout out of play. That evens the count at 2. Glad you're with us on this Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern now, which means it's 12 if you're in California. If you're in Hawaii, it's 10 in the morning, so good morning to you out there. As it's on the ground towards third, out of the reach of Gilman. Scotchable has no play as he keeps it from going into the outfield, but everybody's safe. A slow roller that just had a couple eyes that got around the glove of Gilman. Not that he may have had a play even if he had made the catch. And now it's first and second, 2 outs, and back to the top of the order for Temple. And Byron McCoy, 1 for 3 day to this point. A double and a run scored in his last at-bat. And he'll hit with 2 on and 2 out. And here comes pitching coach Todd Linklater. And again, no action in the Flyer bullpen. So this, to at least for the foreseeable future, is Mitchum's inning. He's only sitting right now at 93 pitches, so he's not really in that big of a pitch count area either where you'd be concerned about him running out of gas. He can routinely throw 110 and at times has been in the 120s at points last season. Did not fare well against Temple in the start he made last year, an 18-11 Flyer victory. He was the Friday starter at that point in the season last year. He and Hobson kind of flip-flopped each kind of each part of the season. The early part of the season, Hobson was the 1, Mitchum the 2. They flipped the early part of the season. Mitchum became the 1 during the opening of conference play, which is when the Flyers faced Temple the second weekend of the season. Mitchum got the victory, but only lasted 5 innings and gave up 7 runs. Looks back at second and delivers the first pitch. And McCoy takes it outside for ball 1. Again, the runner at second is Kahn. The runner at first is Green. Flyers with a 7-3 lead. Temple trying to cut into it here with 2 down. And the pitch to McCoy. That's on the outside corner, a strike. Adrian Perez, who was the team's leading hitter average-wise coming into today's game, waits on deck. McCoy with good speed, so the Flyers on a ground ball will have to hurry. And he pops that foul out of play, and he's down in the count now as McCoy, a ball and 2 strikes. Flyers and Owls wrap up their 3-game series tomorrow. It's a noon start. We'll have pregame 11:45 along the Dayton Flyers Sports Network. Now Mitchum set, looks back at second. Kicks and deals the 1-2 pitch, and that's way upstairs. McCoy takes high. Offense certainly not really the issue for Temple, though they haven't been able to really get good contact against Dayton pitching so far this weekend. The 2-2 pitch. McCoy got a piece of that as he fouled it off right back to the backstop. Temple's pitching obviously has been their biggest weakness. They'll throw Matt Hockenberry tomorrow, who's given up 37 hits in 33 2/3 innings, along with 24 runs. So you go along with that. So the Owls trying to hit their way back into this ball game. The 2-2 pitch. And right back up the middle, hits the glove of Mitchum, and it slows it down enough for Blasek to make the play. He steps on second and ends the 7th inning as Green is retired, and the Flyers now have reached stretch time here at Time Warner Cable Stadium. They'll begin the dugout dance with a 7-3 lead on your home for University of Dayton baseball. This is the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
From the vantage point, Mafatu saw 6 war canoes drawn up on the beach. But what held the boy's eyes in awful trance were the figures, the eaters of men, cannibals. Mafatu watched the strange scene, powerless to move. In that very instant, he heard a crashing in the undergrowth. 4 figures were tearing through the jungle. He turned and ran blindly down the trail, thinking only of his canoe. If only he could reach it before the savages overtook him. Explore new worlds. Find out what happens next by reading the book Call It Courage by Armstrong Sperry. For other great book ideas, visit literacy.gov. A message from the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Let me try.
Okay, just remember what I showed you.
Yep, there was a bunny who had one big ear and another big ear. They looped, made a bow, and the bunny hopped away. I did it!
Oh, good job, kiddo. Now let's tie your other shoe.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Bottom of the 7th inning. And Jimmy Devine remains on the mound for Temple, who got the last out of that inning in the 6th after hitting Bobby Glover. And got Blasek to fly out to right, and the Flyers left the bases loaded. So it'll be Stewart, Gilman, Castine, 2, 3, and 4 in the Dayton order to hit against the right-handed reliever for the Owls. And Devine delivers his first pitch that Stewart chops right at Coach Vittorio in the third base coaching box. 0-1. And he makes the play and gets a round of applause from his dugout down the right field line. Devine nods in agreement with his sign and the 0-1 pitch. And that's chopped right out in front of the plate. Devine has to make the play. Hurry the throw to first. Nice scoop by Flannery on the other end in front of Stewart, who was running hard, and there's one gone here in the 7th inning. That'll bring C.J. Gilman to the plate. Gilman 0 for 3. In fact, every at-bat that he has had prior to this one, he made the final out of the inning. Struck out looking, bounced back to the mound, and grounded out to second. Goes back to the left-hand side and takes the first pitch for a called strike. Last at-bat, he saw 2 balls and a strike from the right-hand side before Coach Vittorio had a little conversation with CJ, and he flipped back around to the left. The 0-1 is high, and it's a ball and a strike now from Devine. And for my money, he didn't look all that thrilled about being told to switch around back to the left-hand side, but facing a new pitcher here, that's where he stands. And that skips up to the plate. 2 balls and a strike now to CJ Gilman. Xavier's pulled ahead of Charlotte 2-1, top of the 5th inning in North Carolina. And Rob Valley's coming out, and I think he might want to have a look at Remillard, who had that skip off his left arm. Looks like he has a padding on that to begin with. He was adjusting that right before the inning began. Again, no shortage of catchers on this team. Taylor Duran, the DH, is obviously one of them. He was the starting catcher for this team last year. Ryan Ferguson, my apologies, out in right field, is also a guy who could strap on the gear and catch. And they have 2 other catchers, redshirt sophomore Matt Elko and redshirt junior Zach Pettis. If Remillard can't continue, and right now the trainer out there looking at that left wrist for Remillard. And it's the one position player who, when he gets hurt, the pitcher can't really throw warm-up tosses because he's got nobody to catch him now. So Devine just kind of standing out there behind the mound as Gilman takes some practice swings outside the home plate circle. Remillard trying to show to the trainer that he's got movement of all 5 of his digits. And I don't think the trainer is too convinced that Remillard is good with that left hand. It's his glove hand, but I think it's the wrist more than anything that they're looking at, and they're trying to make sure he's got enough movement in that hand. And now he's going to crouch back down behind the plate, and the trainer walking back with head coach Rob Valley and trying to explain to him what he saw in that left wrist of Remillard. And I have a feeling he might be DHing tomorrow. As back to live action, Devine delivers an outside corner strike to Gilman, and we're even at 2. Remillard actually more like a quarterback, and that's good eyes of Roy Cassidy as that pitch is low. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's actually a pitch list that is on that left forearm, kind of like you'd see a quarterback have a play call list on his forearm. Payoff pitch coming, and it's swung on and missed. Gilman chased down and in. And that's a second strikeout, or second out of this 7th inning. First strikeout for Devine. And actually, it does make sense that'd be a pitch list when you think about it. Remillard only a freshman. Not a guy who's really experienced with calling a collegiate game. I mean, even Dan Welsh as a junior last year was not calling games to the liking of pitching coach Todd Linkletter to the point where he let him call his own game. This year he is, but Welsh is obviously a senior. Remillard only a freshman right now. The first pitch is outside to Castine, 1-0. 3 walks for Jonathan Castine, as the home run yesterday may have scared off the right-handed starter, Norlander, who never really came close to the plate with Castine, and now neither has Devine. 2-0 the count as more black clouds have followed the sun back here to Time Warner Cable Stadium. This is about the 6th or 7th time we've seen the weather change, and that's all the way to the backstop, 3-0. I wonder if maybe you give Castine a green light just so we can take a swing today. 2 down here in the 7th inning. Flyers a 4-run lead in the pitch. That's low, ball 4, and Castine has now walked 4 times today. So after the 5 RBIs in yesterday's ball game, Rob Valley, Brant Norlander, and now Jeremy Devine have all just pretty much decided they want nothing to do with throwing him a pitch in the strike zone. And Castine now has 13 walks on the season. He's slowly getting close to C.J. Gilman. And here's Dan Welsh. He's had a pretty good day. 3 for 3 to this point after an 0 for 4 day yesterday. He hadn't been hitting well coming into the day. And he taps this one slowly to short. Perez charging, has to barehand and throw on the run. It's wide, and he didn't make the tag. Flannery had to come off the bag, and he tried to sweep tag behind him, but Welsh had already passed him. And that should be an infield hit or an error. That should probably be a base hit. I don't think that was a routine play. Perez had a barehand that just to have a shot. And so it will be indeed an infield single for Welsh. He goes 4 for 4 now on the day. And here's Mike Coughlin, who could really use a base hit to snap out of a bit of a funk for him. 0 for 2 with a walk. Does have an RBI on a ground out earlier today. And the pitch is low, ball 1. Coughlin is hitting at .313. Had a decent day yesterday with 2 base hits, but before that was really struggling. An 0 for 4 day against Cincinnati, a 1 for 4 day against Miami. He fans on that offering from the right-hander, Devine. It's a ball and a strike. And the pitch. That's in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. You go back out to the Malibu trip, and he was 2 for 6. So his average has been pretty much right around 300 now for the last 2 weeks or so. Down from a high of just over 340 earlier this season. Came out on a tear. The pitch is outside 3-1, really making a statement to Coach Vittorio that it's going to be pretty difficult to keep him out of the lineup. In fact, even with the return of Brian Blasek, Coughlin has only missed 1 game as far as starting is concerned, and that was the Friday game against Pepperdine when the Waves threw a right-hander. Runners lead first and second. The 3-1 is low, ball 4. And so after getting the first 2 guys out in this inning, Devine has now issued a walk to Castine, giving up an infield hit to Welsh. And now a walk to Coughlin, and that's loaded the bases. Flyers left the bases loaded in the last half inning when Blasek flew out to right field. Scotchapel 2 for 2 with a pair of base hits and 2 RBIs so far today. He can add on to that. He's got 10 RBIs in the season. He takes the first pitch for a strike. It's 0-1. Scotchapel also has a walk so far today. Has also stolen a base and been caught stealing. So as far as base running, he's now 4 for 6. More importantly, he can drive in some runs here. And the breaking ball stays upstairs. Pair of 1s to Scotchapel. Zach Blanchette has come out into the on-deck circle to hit for Joe Gaeta. After replacing him defensively in the last half inning. And Scotchapel fanned on that. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. So again, Castine leads from third, Welsh from second, and Coughlin from first. The payoff 1-2 pitch is outside and a little high. And Scotchapel with a good eye has worked the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Visnick back up and throwing in the Temple bullpen. The side-arming righty. I'm sure head coach Rob Valley would love not to have to bring him in this inning for Devine to get the final out here. The 2-2 is high, and now the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So with 2 outs, the base is loaded. Runners will be moving with the pitch. They go, and the 3-2. It's inside, ball 4, and it also gets by the catcher Remillard. It's not going to matter much for Castine, who will score regardless, but everybody else has to hold anyway. And that's the 3rd walk of the inning issued by Devine, all coming with 2 outs. And the Flyers have another run across here in the 7th inning, and they now lead 8-3. Rob Valley looks like he's ready to hop out of the dugout and come make the move, and here he does. Blanchette is announced as the hitter. Valley will head out of the dugout. And he may be calling for Ryan Ferguson to come in and catch. He is. Or maybe come in and pitch. He hasn't thrown, now he gives a sign to get Visnick as well. Devine storms off the mound. We've got a pitching change, we've got a catching change, and we'll set up all the new positions for you when we come back. 8-3 Flyers, bases loaded, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Okay, I'll be right there, guys. Hey, oh, Dad, come on in. I thought you were the radon test guys.
The who test guys?
Didn't you see the paper Sunday? The Surgeon General issued another warning.
Oh, like the cigarette warning?
Exactly. Only now they're saying radon causes lung cancer. For non-smokers like us, radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer.
You're kidding me, right? I have a smoke-free home and my family can still get cancer from radon?
Yep. That's why the Surgeon General says every home should be tested for radon.
But I don't smell any radon in my house.
No, nobody can smell radon. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. It just comes up from underground and seeps into your house.
Oh, great.
No, hey, it's no big deal. Even if they find high levels of radon, it can easily be fixed. My brother just had his house fixed. Now that's the radon test guys.
So how did you find them?
First, you go to the EPA website.
Learn more. Visit the EPA at epa.gov/radon. That's epa.gov/radon.
Mommy, I'll get it. Oh, I'll be right there.
Me too.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
A brand new battery for Temple here in the bottom of the 7th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Steve Visnick is the new pitcher, and he's not really throwing too hard. He's waiting because Ryan Ferguson is moving from right field to behind the plate. Will Remolard's day is done, and again, that left wrist, especially missing that last ball that went all the way to the backstop on ball 4 to Mel Scotchtaple, showed head coach Rob Valley something he didn't like. So Remolard's day is done, and Ryan Ferguson is the new catcher. He heads out to catch behind the plate. And the new right fielder is Daniel Dragos. Steve Visnick is your new pitcher. He replaces Jimmy Devine. Visnick did throw in yesterday's ball game. Throwing an inning and 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, it was earned. No walks and 1 strikeout, facing 7 batters and throwing only 14 pitches. So Visnick coming in now on the season is 1-0, making his team high 12th appearance with a 5.74 ERA and 1 save. On the season, 15 2/3 innings, 23 hits, 12 runs, 10 earned. He's walked 4 and struck out 7. And he will face Zach Blanchette with the bases loaded. The line on Devine is 1 full inning of work. He gave up 1 hit. He walked 3, recorded a strikeout, and hit a batter. And as of now, has only given up 1 run, but he is responsible for all 3 base runners. Welsh at third, Coughlin at second, Scotchtaple at first, all of whom, along with the run already in, Jonathan Cassine, have reached with 2 outs. And Blanchette could again open this game wide open if he can get a base hit. And he hits the first pitch on the ground to short. Perez will simply take it to the bag himself, and with 1 pitch, Visnick is able to get out of the bottom of the 7th inning. But the Flyers do pick up another run on 3 walks and 1 base hit, and again, they leave the bases loaded. We head to the top of the 8th inning. Dayton 8, Temple 3. You're listening to University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
The preteen years are a challenging time, but they're also a good time to think about your child's health. Which is why, if you're the parent of an 11 or 12-year-old, you need to know about preteen vaccines. Vaccines that can help protect your preteen from serious diseases like meningitis, whooping cough, and for girls, the virus that causes cervical cancer. So schedule a checkup for your child today and ask specifically about preteen vaccines. Because your preteen might think that they're all grown up, but they're counting on you to know better.
For more information, call 800-CDC-INFO. That's 800-232-4636. Or visit our website at www.cdc.gov/vaccines. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Top of the 8th inning, Dayton 8 and Temple 3. As the Flyers now, again with that 5-run lead, will turn the ball back to Bernie Mitchum. It is his second inning of work here. Well, not second inning, I should say his 8th inning of work, not second. Don't know what I was looking at there. Maybe the 2 is on the back of Adrian Perez, who's coming to the plate. Tim Corby, meanwhile, is beginning to loosen in the Dayton Flyer bullpen with Josh Jeffrey out there in the left field bullpen. And Mitchum set to go here in the 8th, and the first pitch is skied into center field. Glover moving back a couple of steps and over to right field. He makes the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the 8th. And that is 100 pitches for Bernie Mitchum. So Payne flies out to Glover in center. And with 1 out and nobody on, the batter will be Ryan Ferguson, who is now the catcher for Temple. Started out as the right fielder. And to this point is 0 for 2. Takes the first pitch low, ball 1. He reached on an error in the 4th inning, scored a run. Also drove in a run with a sac fly in the 6th. He's also struck out. And he hits that in the air well to left center field. Glover positioned him that way, and he's going to be in front of the warning track and drop the ball. The sun came out right before Ferguson began his at-bat. And I don't know if maybe that had an impact. Glover had it right in his glove, and it simply ticked off the side and rolled to the wall. It'll be an error on Glover, and Ferguson is on at second base. Second time he has reached on a Flyer error. Second error of the year for Bobby Glover. And Welsh is going to go out to talk to Mitchum. I don't believe this is stalling. I believe this is actually something to make sure their signs are right with a runner at second base. Though Corby, again, as I mentioned at the opening of the inning, is beginning to throw softly in the Flyer bullpen with Josh Jeffrey down there. So Ferguson leads from second base. 1 out here in the 8th in the pitch. Swung on and missed. Nicorak took a big cut and hit nothing but air. And it's 1 strike to count. Mitchum looks back at second in the 0-1 pitch. That's on the outside edge, a strike, 0-2. A bit of news from the coaching search for the next men's basketball coach here at the University of Dayton. Duke assistant coach Steve Wojciechowski has pulled his name out of consideration for the job. This according to Doug Harris of the Dayton Daily News. Pitch is low. It's a ball and 2 strikes. So just add him to the list of names that won't be the next coach here. Still don't know who it will be. The 1-2. That's low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And, of course, the speculation always begins when you pull your name out of consideration. A lot of times that means that somebody has been offered the job. Of course, that is not, at least to our knowledge, the case yet. The search continues. The 2-2 pitch. Just a little low. Nicorak gambled and got the call from home plate umpire Chris Perry, and now it's full with 1 out here in the 8th. Corby now will lose the warm-up sweater, and the payoff pitch from Mitchum. On the outside corner, strike 3. Nicorak had flung the bat away and was halfway down the line. And he said something to umpire Chris Perry as he walked by back to the Temple dugout along the third base line. He is caught looking for the second out of the inning. The 8th strikeout of the day for Mitchum. First pitch to Taylor Duran is outside for ball one. Duran so far today is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. And he lifts that foul out of play. It's a ball and a strike. 193 now for Bernie Mitchum in his career. Be interesting to see as he and Hobson kind of chase each other throughout the season. The 1-1 swung on and missed. Duran came up empty. And it's now a ball and 2 strikes. And Mitchum could end, well, at least what I would perceive to likely be the end of his day with a flourish here. Ferguson leads from second, 2 down. In the 8th inning, the 1-2 pitch. In the dirt, and it skips by Welsh. That'll be a wild pitch as advancing to third base is Ferguson. Mitchum tried to get Duran to chase, and that one just did not look good enough for the Owls DH to commit. So now Duran steps back in. Mitchum to the full windup with a runner at third now, as he is prone to do. And the 2-2 pitch. On the ground to second. Blasek moves a step to his left, is up with it, and throws on to first. And that retires the side. No runs, no hits, and error. And Temple Strands won. 7.5 in the books here at Tom Warner Cable Stadium. Dayton 8 and Temple 3. You're listening to University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Face it, there are some things you simply cannot control. But there are some really important things you can control. Like keeping your family healthy and safe. Steps you can take to make sure the important things in your life are under control. The American Diabetes Association has a free booklet called Planning for a Healthy Life, and it'll help you do just that, with information on everything from healthier eating choices, choosing a doctor, and managing your finances, to planning for a secure retirement. To get your free copy, call 1-800-DIABETES or go to diabetes.org/lifeplanner. Order yours today and take control of your life. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association, because we want everyone to be healthy and happy.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Bottom of the 8th inning, and Steve Visnick continues his day on the mound after getting the final out of the 7th inning on just 1 pitch. Zach Blanchett grounding into a fielder's choice, forcing out Mel Scotch to pull at second base, and so he'll begin his first full inning of work with Glover Blasek Stewart. 9-1-2, and really the most drama you might see in this inning is the second batter, the guy on deck, Brian Blasek, who is currently 0 for 4. Riding an 18-game hitting streak that dates back to last season. Of course, he's got a long way to go to get the record, which is Robin Ventura's 58 back at Oklahoma State. And Visnick's first pitch to Glover is ripped out of the reach of Perez, the diving shortstop, and into left field. It's a base hit. So Glover starts off this 8th inning for the Flyers here with his second hit. And here is the aforementioned Brian Blasek. It's flown out to right twice, struck out, and flown out to center. And Coach Vittorio flashing the signs here with Glover on at first base. And with Blasek's speed, Nicorak is way back at third base. Wonder if he tries to lay one down here. Earn his way on that way. Visnick's first pitch is ripped on a line, and it's a one-hopper fielded cleanly by the second baseman, and they flip to second and get the out. And so Blasek will reach on a fielder's choice, and that will likely end his hitting streak at 18 games. Glover is forced out 4 to 6. And he replaces Glover at first base. And here's Zach Stewart. A big 2-run homer in the 5th inning is really what kind of put this game out of reach for Temple. It was 4-2 at that point. It made it 6-2, and the Dayton Flyers have really just kind of jockeyed back and forth with the Owls since then, up 8-3 here in the 8th. Temple's really never threatened beyond that, and he rolls over this pitch to Stewart to first base. Flannery will just simply take it to the bag himself and ensure the Owls of an out. And Blasek is on at second now, advancing on the ground out. And here's C.J. Gilman. Like Blasek, a tough day at the plate to this point. He's 0 for 4. 2 strikeouts to go with that 0 for 4 day, along with 2 ground ball outs. And he'll get a chance to hit against Visnick, or no, he won't, as Rob Valley has emerged from the dugout. And it looks as though he might make another move here. He has, looks like Dan Wasson out there in the bullpen who's going to jog in. We'll double check that for you when we come back as the Owls make another pitching change and we step aside. 8-3 Flyers here in the 8th on Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Okay, I got it.
It's easy to take a day for granted. You and your family are connected by routine, and you stick to it. But what if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if your day's routine is disrupted and you can't reach your family? Have you planned for that? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Today, learn how at www.ready.gov. Ready.gov. This message brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Tyler Horst is the new pitcher here for the Temple Owls in this bottom of the 8th inning. The junior right-hander, 6'2", 200 pounds, out of Denver, PA. Went to Garden Spot High School. And is on the mound now for the Owls, and he will face C.J. Gilman, the switch hitter for the Flyers, who again is 0 for 4. Horst on the season, making his 7th appearance. One of his 6 was a start prior to this one. A 6.0 even earned run average. No decision, though he does have a save. 12 innings pitched for Horst. He's given up 18 hits, 8 runs, all earned, walked 4, and struck out 10. With opponents hitting .327 against the right-hander. And as C.J. Gilman comes to the plate, it's the 3rd straight inning in which head coach Rob Valley has made a pitching change with 2 outs. Replaced Norlander with Devine in the 6th, Devine with Visnick in the 7th, and here in the 8th, it's Horst now into the ballgame with a runner at second, 2 down, and the first pitch to C.J. Gilman is in for a strike on the outside corner, and he has not liked Chris Perry's strike zone all day long. And it seems as though it's affecting his mental approach here. At some point, step towards the third base line and hit the ball the other way. The 0-1. That's a little further outside, and that is 1 ball and 1 strike. Corby throwing with authority down in the Flyer bullpen, so likely see him in the 9th, I would expect, with Mitchum up over 110 pitches. The 1-1. Overhand curveball from Horst stayed outside, and that time it was the pitcher who didn't like the call, and it's 2-1. Suffice to say, Chris Perry won't be getting any Christmas presents from Temple and Dayton. Blasek with good speed leads from second. With 2 down, a base hit would score him. Gilman can't pull the trigger on an outside corner pitch again, and now it's 2-2. Looked like he wanted to kind of step into that one and just never got the arms going. They play Gilman to hit the ball towards right field. And both Flannery at first and Nickerack at third are guarding the line. The 2-2 pitch. And it is on the ground towards first and through into right field, a base hit past the dive of Flannery. Blasek will score easily. Gilman is on at first with his first hit of the game, an RBI single, and Dayton tacks on to their lead. Second straight game in which they've now scored 9 runs against the Owls. They have a 9-3 lead here this afternoon. And that officially means that every position in the batting order has at least reached base at some point, whether by hit, walk, fielder's choice, or the like. Blasek scoring his first run of the game. And that pitch is taken high. 1 ball, no strikes. Norlander, the starter for Temple, retired Dayton in order in the first and third innings, facing Blasek, Stewart, and Gilman. Flyers have scored in every other inning. The pitch, the runner goes. It's a little high, and the throw down to second is not in time. Gilman, another stolen base, and he just continues to impress on the base paths. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Castine, and for Gilman, that is stolen base number 11 now on the season. And suddenly that prediction he wanted to make at the beginning of the season of stealing 20 is not so outlandish anymore. And now Jonathan Castine will be issued his 5th walk of the day, as Ferguson's going to stand up and stick the glove out. And that's ball 3. Castine has already walked 4 times and has scored 3 of those times. And he will have one of the most improbable line scores I have ever seen in a baseball game. 5 plate appearances, no at-bats, 5 walks. And we're going to get stat guru Brian Karst on this to find out if any Dayton player in history has ever walked 5 times in a game. I don't even know if we keep records like that. If we do, he'll find it. That's besides him, Roy. We know Castine's did it. I just made a big point of telling everybody that. He's on with his 5th walk of the game. And so it's first and second, 2 outs, and Dan Welsh, a chance to drive in some more runs for the Flyers. And the first pitch hits the outside corner from Horst. No balls and 1 strike to Welsh, who hitting behind those 5 walks is 4 for 4. So it's not exactly like walking Castine has worked out well for Temple, but they continue to do it. This time was half intentionally. The 0-1 in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, based on yesterday's results, when Castine hit a 2-run homer and Welsh was 0 for 4, it's a bit understandable. But Welsh with 3 singles and a double today, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. And with 2 outs here in the 8th, he's got Gilman at second, Castine at first. And the pitch. That's an overhand breaking ball that drops outside and low, 2-1. Dan Welsh, if he gets on, Mike Coughlin will continue the inning, who himself has walked twice. Temple's walked 9 in the game. Scotch, the pull behind him, has also walked twice. So 9 walks to just 3 players. That's fouled off into the bullpen. And out of play, the count goes to 2-2. Bobby Glover's also been hit with a pitch. So basically 10 free base runners given to the Flyers. Now, every error by Temple, they've made 3, has come on a throwing error at some point. So no base runners were given because of the error. It's just extra bases. 2 down, bottom of the 8th, and the 2-2 pitch from Horst. Welsh watches that in the dirt, and now it's full, 3-2. So the runners can take off with the pitch. And with Gilman a good base runner at second, that likely means the Flyers would get him to score if Welsh is able to get a base hit here. Horst comes to the set. And the runners go, the payoff pitch, and Welsh fouls it off. We'll do it again. Flyers with a 9-3 lead. They've out-hit Temple 10-7, and we've mentioned the 10 free base runners they've been given. Temple has 7 hits, and they've made 3 errors compared to the Flyers' 2. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Gilman at second, Castine at first, and with a full count, they both take off, and Welsh rips this one at third. Nickerack fields it on a hop and throws across the diamond to first. Welsh is retired for the first time today, and the Flyers are done in the 8th, but they get a run on 2 hits, and they strand 2, and at the end of 8 innings, it is Dayton 9, Temple 3, last chance for the Owls coming up on your home for the University of Dayton baseball. It's the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
My grandpa said he had to do something very important. Grandma had to go out for just a little bit. Grandpa said he won't be long.
When fall comes around, it's time to get out for your annual flu shot.
He'll be right back. Nana always hurries home.
The CDC recommends that all seniors get a shot to protect against influenza.
I'm keeping Grandpa's favorite seat warm for him.
Because the flu can cause serious problems.
Grandma makes the best cookies. But don't tell Mom.
Each year, complications from the flu cause an average of 36,000 deaths.
Papa never misses lunch.
So be sure to get your shot soon.
When Grandpa gets back, we're gonna wrestle.
After all, it's important to a lot of people. Be smart, be well, get your flu shot.
Grandpa's home.
Call 1-800-CDC-INFO for more information. A public service message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Tim Corby will try to close this one out for the Flyers here in the 9th inning with a 9-3 advantage. Flyers senior right-hander from Toledo is making for the Flyers his 13th appearance. That is a team high to this point. 1-0 with 1 save and a 4.24 earned run average for Corby. 17 innings pitched, 18 hits, 13 runs, 8 earned. He's walked 6 and struck out 14, and the right-hander in his last outing was lights out. 3 innings with only 1 hit. Struck out the side in his first inning of those 3. That was back Tuesday against Miami in what was a 6-0 Dayton win. Flyers trying to improve to 14-13 and go to 2-0 in conference play. They're 3 outs away from doing it, and the first pitch is a breaking ball strike. 0-1 to Dragos. His first at-bat of the day after going into right field when Ferguson moved behind the plate, replacing Remillard. So it's Dragos in Remillard's place in the batting order, and that's outside, a ball and a strike. Wind really whipping out towards right now as Corby deals the 1-1. And Dragos takes that low, 2 balls and a strike. Dragos started yesterday's game for the Owls, struck out twice looking, and was on the bench to start today before replacing Remillard. The pitch, fouled away, and Corby's even the count now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dragos will be followed by Kahn and Flannery at 6, 7, and 8 in the Owl batting order here in the 9th. Mitchum with those 8 innings gives up 3 runs, 1 earned on 7 hits. And Dragos fouls that off again, staying alive. Corby ready. And the 2-2 pitch. On the ground towards short. Scotch pull up with it cleanly. Pumps once and throws to first, and it's in time to get Dragos. And there's 1 out here in the 9th. And that'll bring Jaber Khan to the plate. Mitchum, by the way, finished without walking anybody and recorded 8 strikeouts. And the Flyers' walks per 9 innings continue to go down, as does their strikeout to walk ratio continue to go up. They are 3rd in the nation coming in this weekend in walks per 9 innings. Only Texas A&M and Florida were better. And time is called. The Flyers' goal was to be top 5 in the country. That was kind of Todd Linkletter set it out to the pitching staff. He said, come up with a goal that is most people would think it would be outlandish, but that you could reach. As Kahn swings through that pitch, it's a ball and a strike, and staff got together, came back to him and said, we want to be top 5 in the country in walks per 9 innings. 52 walks and 230 innings pitched. That's high. 2 balls and a strike. That was coming in today. It's now 50 walks and 230 and 2/3 innings pitched. 238 and 2/3. Pretty good start for the Flyers through about half a season. The 2-1. Outside and low, 3 balls and a strike. And as I talk all about not walking people, Corby has fallen behind 3-1 on Kahn. And Kahn fouls that off. So the count goes full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out and the base is empty. Here in the top of the 9th. We told you already, LaSalle beat Rhode Island 4-3. They've started the second game of that doubleheader, scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd. And in a non-conference game, Fordham beat Massachusetts 6-5. Yes, they're both in the A-10, but no, that was not a conference game. The 3-2. In the dirt, ball 4, and Corby has walked Jaber Khan. And I will cease to talk about anything good the Flyers do, because apparently it just ends whenever I do it. Blasic's hitting streak is done. Corby's issued a walk. And that'll bring a pinch hitter to the plate as Flannery's day will be done. The Owls go back to the bench for Kanabe. Who pinched hit for Dragos yesterday, got a single and then grounded to third in his 2 at-bats. He takes a big cut and fouls it off. 0-1. Top of the 5th in Richmond, Virginia. The Spiders lead St. Bonaventure 2-0. So they're trying to win the first 2 games of that series. And they, if they do, and the Flyers hold on here, would be the lone undefeated teams in the Atlantic 10. Top of the 7th, Charlotte a 4-2 lead over Xavier now. The 0-1. That's a called strike. And it's 0-2. Musketeers will need to come back over the 49ers to try to even that series at a game apiece. St. Joe's has jumped out in front of George Washington big now. It's 8-3. As that stays outside, a ball and 2 strikes. So the Hawks with that 8-3 lead over George Washington. Top of the 8th inning in Arlington, Virginia, looking to even that series at a game apiece. St. Louis and Missouri State are now underway. Top of the 2nd inning in the Gateway City. On the ground, and that'll be out of the reach of Brian Blasick and into right field, a base hit. Kahn will round second. He will go to third. Scotch-DePole will fake a throw and hold the runner at first. And Kanabe, for the 2nd straight day, has a pinch hit single. And now Temple has runners at the corners. Only 1 out still in this 9th inning. But the Owls do trail by 6, and here's Cameron Green. 1 for 3 on the day to this point is Green, who was flown out to right and lined out to short. Then singled off Mitchum in the 7th. Kahn is on at third, and now it's Kanabe on at first with Stewart holding him on. And Corby's first offering is on the outside corner. It's a strike. To Cameron Green. Corby has to work from the stretch. The 0-1. Lifted in the air, center field. That's well hit. Glover going back, still going back, still going back. It's over his head and off the wall. Kahn will score easily, and they'll have to hold Kanabe at third, who wasn't running too hard because he wasn't sure if Glover was going to track it down or not. And into second with an RBI double is Cameron Green. The ball just kept drifting on Glover. And again, the wind may have played a factor. It's blowing out to right center. Give Green an RBI, and Temple has cut the lead to 9-4. And with a base hit, could get it within 3. With runners at second and third and only 1 out for the top of the order, Byron McCoy. And this is not the outing Coach Vittorio and Coach Linkletter wanted out of Tim Corby. 1 out here in the 9th, trying to finish this ball game off. And McCoy takes a breaking ball, called strike, 0-1. McCoy has 2 doubles in this series, 1 in each game, and has scored both times. The double in this inning, in this game, was back in the 6th inning. That's outside, and it's 1-1. He's also grounded into a fielder's choice, lined to short, and popped to second. The runner at third is Kanabe. The runner at second is Green. They both measure their leads in the 1-1. Popped up on the infield. Blasek drifting towards first base. He's on the outfield grass now, reaches up and makes the catch. And that's the second out of the ball game, or the inning here in the ninth. And now 1 out away from the Flyers taking the ball game here in this ninth inning. It'll be Adrian Perez, the last hope for Temple. 2 singles in 4 at-bats for Perez. Has also struck out and flown out to Glover in center. And Corby's first offering is another breaking ball. That one is inside. It's 1-0. Flyers and Owls conclude their 3-game series tomorrow, a noon start here at Time Warner Cable Stadium. The 1-0 pitch. On the ground towards short. Scotchville ranges that way. Have a long throw. Stewart, can he scoop it? No, it gets by him. So 1 run is in, and now a second run will score on the throwing error from Scotchville. It'll be a base hit for Perez. He'll get an RBI credited for 1. The error, though, is what gets him to second and brings home the second run in the form of Cameron Green. And now, if Temple can get 1 more base runner, they could bring the tying run to the plate. A situation where Scotchville probably should have just eaten the baseball and not tried to make the throw. 3 runs across in this inning, and now we're going to get a pinch runner as Elijah Yarborough is going to run for Adrian Perez. And here's Ryan Ferguson. Again, best hitter on this Temple ball club, and Corby's first pitch drops low for ball 1. And this is something the Flyers didn't want to have to do, is get Mike Hochschild up and throwing. But he's headed down to the bullpen, and he will at least begin to loosen the arm a bit. If Ferguson gets on, you may see him come in for Corby. Pitches outside. 2 balls and no strikes, and they're not even wasting time. Hochschild throws off the warm-up jacket, and he's going to start throwing for real because the tying run, Steve Nicorak, is on deck. This is now a safe situation. Corby needs just 1 more out. And Ferguson goes into left field, but it'll hold up. And then Blanchette, did he make the catch? No, he didn't make the catch. He did not make the catch. He held the ball up to say that he did, but it skipped in right in front of him. It'll be a single for Ferguson. Yarborough stopped at third. I don't really know why. And that's what head coach Rob Valley's saying. There's 2 outs. Who cares if he caught it or not? Keep running. Temple could have probably scored another run there. Instead, it's first and third. But here's Steve Nicorak, the tying run in the 9th inning for Temple. And Welsh is going to go talk to Tim Corby. And this is a I'm buying time talk. A slow walk out there as Hochschild loosens in the bullpen. So what looked like a convincing lead for the Flyers heading into this 9th inning, 9-3, has turned into a bit of an adventure. 4 hits and a walk have plated 3 Temple runs and put runners at the corners with 2 down for Steve Nicorak. On the day, he is 1 for 4. A single, 2 fielders' choices, and a strikeout. And now pitching coach Todd Linkletter is going to make a slow walk out to the mound so that Hochschild can continue to loosen up in that Flyer bullpen if they want him to throw to Nicorak. Each team now with 3 errors. 2 from Scotchville for the Flyers, along with 1 from Glover. Temple has also made 3 errors, 2 throwing errors from Remillard, and a throwing error from Perez. Because of the single by Ferguson, all the runs in this inning are now earned. So as Linkletter heads back to the dugout, Hochschild takes his hat off his head to let everybody know that he's ready if the Flyers want to go to him. Coach Vittorio stays in the dugout, though, as Corby will look at third and deliver his first pitch to Nickerack, and it's in the dirt, ball one. Flyers a 9-6 lead, but they've now been out-hit 11-10, and that's the last pitch he's going to throw. As here comes Coach Vittorio, and that will do it for Tim Corby. So with a 1-0 count on Nickerack and 2 outs here in the ninth, Mike Hochschild is coming in to try to close the door and earn the save. Flyers 9, Temple 6. Back after this on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Would it be crazy if you packed your bags and left? For a week, a month, a year? What if you left for 2 years? What if you were going far away to help in a village on the edge of the Gobi Desert? To spend time with people the rest of the world only reads about? To teach children and learn a thing or two about yourself? Would that be crazy? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
Will I always be working weekends just to stay out of debt?
Is a great college for our kids?
Out of the question?
Is the American dream
Out of our reach?
Not if we can help it. We're the National Endowment for Financial Education, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people just like you get smart about their money. Log on to smartaboutmoney.org today and start taking control of your financial life. Help is closer than you think.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Mike Hochschild, the new pitcher for the Flyers here in this ninth inning. He enters the game with a 9-6 lead, but the tying run for Temple at the plate, and Tim Corby's already thrown ball one to Steve Nickerack. The runner at third is Yarborough. The runner at first is Ferguson. Corby pitches 2/3 of an inning, has given up 3 runs, all earned to this point. He's also responsible for those runners at first and third. Because he's only thrown 1 pitch, Nickerack will be Hochschild's batter regardless. 1 walk, no strikeouts, and no hit batsman for Corby. Hochschild making his 9th appearance, his 4th in relief. As a starter, he threw 2 complete games. And after all this time, are they saying that Corby has to come out and... He shouldn't. He made 1 pitch. He does not have to finish a batter. He has to make a pitch. After a coaching visit, he has to make a pitch. And he made a pitch. And a question on the rules here. This was what Rob Valley brought up during the... And now pitching coach Todd Linkletter and home plate umpire Chris Perry are having a heated discussion as well. Down there, the 4 of them with Coach Vittorio and now first base umpire Tim Farwig are down there in the bullpen. Hochschild is still throwing. If and when he comes in, he's got a 3.89 ERA and he's 5-3 with no saves to this point. He'd be looking for his first one. He leads the team in innings pitched behind Hobson, second on the team, I should say, with 44 innings pitched. 45 hits, 21 runs, 19 earned, 3 walks, and 36 strikeouts. Now the conversation between the 4 have ceased. Vittorio and Linkletter have left, and now it's just the 2 umpires talking. Farwig and Perry. And Tim Corby is standing along the warning track in front of the dugout. And now they're going to call third base coach Rob Valley over, the head coach for Temple. And apparently the umpires have been persuaded or convinced or what have you that Mike Hochschild is allowed to pitch. And unfortunately, can't pick up anything on the crowd mic as to what is being said there between head coach Rob Valley, first base coach Tim Farwig, who is the crew chief, And Chris Perry, who's behind the plate today, and it's his game, Chris Perry's. That's the way that works, but the crew chief has the final say. And head coach Rob Valley is called. I think he's called for the rule book. This is incredible. And here comes pitching coach Tim Perry. And Chris Perry has walked right by him. This is. And now the umpires have gone into Temple's dugout now. You can't have 2 straight visits to the mound unless there's an injury. But Corby did throw a pitch, and I think that was why they let him start the at-bat. They wanted to make sure Hochschild was ready, and as Coach Linkletter was headed back to the dugout after his plate appearance, Hochschild put his hat up in the air, which is the universal signal that a pitcher in the bullpen is ready to go. At that point, Corby threw ball 1 to Steve Nicorak, and Coach Vittorio left the dugout to make the pitching change. And I wonder who this benefits more or least, because Temple had a lot of momentum, but you're making Hochschild throw a lot of pitches right now, warming up obviously, but batter's getting a chance to see all his different stuff. And again, he was slated, if he didn't pitch in these first 2 games, to be the starter tomorrow. So does this change now whether he starts tomorrow or not? I have no idea what is going on. And Coach Mike Kelly, who is the official administrator here for baseball, is down there outside the dugout now on the other side of the fence trying to get an explanation as well. One thing we do know, there are 2 outs in the 9th inning. It is Dayton 9, Temple 6, and it's a 1-0 count on Steve Nicorak. The only question really that we have left to answer is whether the second pitch of the at-bat will come from Mike Hochschild or Tim Corby. Now, Corby has also gone down into the bullpen, and he has begun to loosen and throw to keep his arm loose. And now the home plate umpire has emerged from the dugout. And it is going to be Tim Corby. So apparently the rule is you have to face a full batter. Our stat wizard Brian Karst is over there, and he is trying to figure out, have we found that in the rule with pitching changes, Brian? He hasn't found the rule just yet. Now the crew chief, Tim Farwig, and the home plate umpire, Chris Perry, have gone back over to have a discussion with pitching coach Todd Linkletter and head coach Tony Vittorio. So Mike Hochschild has not appeared in the game yet. This is simply his appearance is removed. He can still come back into the ballgame. So Corby, I guess, has to finish the batter, I believe is the rule. And it will be exactly that. So Corby will have to finish the batter. Nicorak is at the plate. The count is 1-0. And, of course, the thing that I wonder, though, and this is the interesting thing, that head coach Rob Valley waited until the pitching change was made and Hochschild was on the mound before bringing that up to the home plate umpire. And that might be walking the fine line between being shrewd and being a little bit unsportsmanlike. So Corby will get a chance to throw again just to make sure he's loose. We have now reached a delay of about almost 10 minutes waiting for this decision to be made between the start of the pitching change and now. But when it's all said and done, it's still Tim Corby on the mound. It's still Mike Hochschild in the bullpen, and it's still Steve Nicorak at the plate. And it's still 1 ball and no strikes. 9-6, Dayton on top. They've been out hit 11-10. The runner at third base is Elijah Yarborough. The runner at first base is Ryan Ferguson, and Corby's 1-0 pitch is low, ball 2. Well, you know if Corby doesn't get Nicarac, he's coming out. Does Mike Hochschild get another 6 pitches of a warm-up too? I'm assuming he does. Runners again lead from the corners. 2 down, top of the 9th, and Corby's delivery. On the outside corner, a strike to Nicarac. It's 2-1. It's now a final from Charlotte. They've played 3 innings in the time that it's taken us to play the 9th. 4-2, 49ers win as Nicarac fouled it off. And the count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. St. Joe's leads George Washington 9-5, top of the 9th inning in Arlington, Virginia. And Richmond's still up 2-0, top of the 5th. And they've moved to the 6th inning in Philadelphia, scoreless between Rhode Island and LaSalle. Right here, it's 2 on, 2 out, top of the 9th, a 3-run Flyer lead. The 2-2 pitch to Nicarac is tapped foul down the third base line out of play. And so it remains 2-2. The only other 2 games in progress, both non-conference matchups. Albany leads UMass 2-0, top of the 2nd in the Bronx. At a tournament with Fordham. And St. Louis a 1-0 lead, top of the 4th on Missouri State. Right here, it's Dayton 9, Temple 6. Runners lead from 1st and 3rd. The 2-2 up the middle, through into center field, a base hit. Stopping at 2nd and holding on is Ferguson. And in to score is Elijah Yarborough. Corby has now allowed 4 runs and has given up 5 hits. And it's 1st and 2nd. And now the tying run is on base for Temple on the RBI single from Nicarac. And here comes Tony Vittorio, and now we will see the pitching change. Mike Hochschild for Tim Corby, and we'll step aside again. Now Dayton 9, Temple 7. Back after this on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
It's Ear Candy, your tunes.
So cool when my radio's louder than my muffler.
Like they used to say.
If it's too loud, you're too old.
Well, that was backwards. The Consumer Electronics Association wants to bend your ear. The louder you play your music now, the louder you'll have to turn it up later to get the same effect. So don't force your ears to adopt higher listening levels now. They could hurt later. That's to save your hearing. If you got the earbud action going or listening on headphones, just don't crank them so loud you can't hear what's around you. That's not good for your ears or your concentration. And especially when operating a motor vehicle, worry about your buds on the highway, not the buds in your ears. When used wisely, your sound equipment will provide a lifetime of fun and enjoyment. This message, a public service announcement from your station and the Consumer Electronics Association, CEA.
You're listening to the University of Dayton Baseball on the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
Mike Hochschild now the pitcher. Again looking for his first save. He comes in down with his team up 9-7 to face Taylor Duran. And Duran steps in 0 for 4, having struck out twice. The runner at 2nd is Ferguson. The tying run is Nicarac. He's at 1st. And Hochschild's first pitch, right back up the middle, and Hochschild gloves it. Underhands to Stewart, and the Flyers win the ball game. So after a lot of posturing, it took 1 pitch for Mike Hochschild to get the final out of the 9th inning, and the Flyers hold on and win this one by the final of 9-7. In that 9th inning, which took about half a year to play, the Owls scored 4 runs on 5 hits and a walk, and they leave the tying runs on base. The final score, Dayton 9 and Temple 7. Back to wrap it up after this on your home for University of Dayton Baseball. This is the Dayton Flyers Sports Network.
I can help the next customer over here.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, that's a lot of books. Let's see. How to keep your child safe. Child-proofing your home. Child-proofing your yard. Child-proofing your in-laws' home and yard. Well, I'm guessing you have a little one at home?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you must take good care of her.
Bedenhead and C.J. Gilman's kind of that same type of guy too. And really, the reality is Stewart.